When my CEO wife went bankrupt, everyone figured I'd grab the cash and run. After all, I was the handsome trophy husband who loved nothing but spending her money on a life of luxury. However, I actually wanted to stay and help her make a comeback. If she rebuilt her wealth, I would be set for life again. But who would have thought her bankruptcy was just an act? When I transmigrated into this novel, the story was already at its grand finale. The beautiful CEO was the villain, defeated by the protagonist. I still remembered the book's final passage about her. The only things Chloe still had left were the husband lying in her bedroom and his expensive clothes and watches. But Chloe knew this man, who only ever cared about her money, would soon pack up his luxury goods and walk out forever. She would truly be left with nothing. Rubbing my temples, I sighed as I thought of my supposedly bankrupt CEO wife. Honestly, Chloe had actually been pretty good to me since we tied the knot. Now, it felt too cheap to just take the cash and run while she was down. At the very least, I should wait until she got back on her feet. After spending some time sorting through my thoughts, I got up and started cleaning the messy apartment. It took me 3 hours to stack my luxury belongings in the bedroom. There were over 100 watches and more than 80 outfits. Right then, I wished I could trade those clothes for more designer watches, since they are much easier to liquidate. Since I had woken up at 2 p.m., my stomach was growling loudly, so I searched the wallet on the coffee table and found my ID, a bank card, and $700. I did not even bother checking the kitchen. We had only moved in 2 days ago, and neither of us knew how to cook, so it was bound to be empty. I needed to find some food. Fortunately, even though Chloe's rented apartment was small, the complex itself was nice and had plenty of restaurants right downstairs. I strolled downstairs and grabbed a bowl of noodles. Remembering the empty bathroom upstairs, I headed to the local supermarket and bought a bunch of daily necessities. I made sure to grab a set for Chloe too, choosing styles and colors based on her preferences. Next, I began cleaning the rest of the apartment. I turned the handle and walked into Chloe's bedroom, finding it completely bare aside from a few books and desk items. There was only a bed and the bare essentials, I sighed. It must be incredibly tough for a woman born into extreme wealth to endure a simple life like this. I looked around and started tidying up. Time flew by, and by the time the apartment was spotless, it was already 10 p.m. I washed up, feeling a quiet peace, and set my late-night snack on the coffee table, ready to dig in. Just as I opened the container and took my first bite, the sound of the front door unlocking echoed through the apartment. I looked up and met a pair of eyes as clear as autumn pools. The woman standing at the door stared at me blankly. Her eyes swept across the clean apartment, showing a brief flash of surprise, before locking back onto me. I took the opportunity to size her up. She was an incredibly gorgeous woman, easily living up to every description the author had written about her. Feeling Chloe's eyes on me, I nervously tightened my grip on my chopsticks, feeling a wave of anxiety wash over me. After all, I was an imposter. Would someone as sharp as Chloe really not realize her husband was different? Her gaze made me feel like she could see right through me. Did you hire a cleaner? Do you have enough money? Her tone was flat, filled with suspicion. I shook my head automatically. No, I did it myself. You cleaned it. Yes, I did it myself. Chloe looked completely astonished as she stared at me. We locked eyes for a brief second before she looked away. Is your money enough? Yes, it is. What about you? I asked out of habit, immediately wishing I hadn't. The question caught her off guard again, making her look over in surprise before she quietly replied, "It is enough." Then, silence fell. Chloe glanced at the cheap food on the table and suddenly said, "I am sorry." I did not understand at first, but following her gaze, I quickly shook my head. "No, you have nothing to apologize for." Chloe walked over and sat on the opposing sofa, choosing her words with care. "The assets are mostly settled. Everything under my name has been sold off. Although there is not much left, we have no debt, so do not worry about that. I have $30,000 left. Once this is sorted, I will start earning again. Your account should still have $60,000. I have already paid 6 months of rent here. If you want a divorce, I will give you another $20,000. You can stay until you find a place." I knew she was being incredibly generous. Our total assets were $90,000, and if we split, she was giving me $80,000 and a place to stay. She would never ask for my watches and clothes back, leaving herself with just $10,000. Seeing my silence, she added, with whatever money I make in the future, I will send you at least 3,000 a month. That is all I can promise for now. If I manage to rebuild my business, I will compensate you. I quickly shook my head in refusal. When Chloe saw me shake my head, she fell silent. Realizing she might have misunderstood, I quickly explained. No, I do not want a divorce, and I do not need your money. Don't worry, I can get by. I have accepted our new reality. I will be careful with spending and start earning my own way. Do not put so much pressure on yourself. A normal household does not spend that much. Anyway, you do not want a divorce. But yesterday you demanded ... Then I remembered. The day before, I had apparently thrown a tantrum, called Chloe useless, and demanded a split. My face stiffened. I was drunk and did not mean it. I have thought it through. I cannot abandon you now. Since we are married, I will carry my weight. You do not have to worry about me. I can support myself, and maybe even support you. As I spoke, Chloe's expression grew even stranger, but she let it go. If you do not want a divorce, then fine. Just let me know if you change your mind. She got up to use the bathroom, while I awkwardly lowered my head and kept eating. I heard her footsteps pause briefly after entering, likely noticing how clean the space had become before the running water started. By the time I finished my meal, Chloe had stepped out. The vibe was surprisingly comfortable, not awkward like I had feared. Thanks, you should sleep too. I scratched my head, feeling like I was dreaming. After sorting my thoughts, I washed up, went to my room, and opened my laptop. I signed up for a personal seller account on an e-commerce site before turning in. The next morning, I woke up at 6:30 out of habit. Using the groceries from yesterday, I started cooking some porridge, then ran downstairs to grab steamed buns and fried dough sticks. When I returned, Chloe was just opening her bedroom door. Hearing me enter, she looked up, and when she saw the breakfast in my hands, she rubbed her eyes, disbelieving. Good morning. I bought breakfast and made porridge. You should go wash up. With that, I headed into the kitchen to check the pot, ignoring her bewildered look. Since we had both been staying up late, I wanted something healthy, so I had specifically made a red date and red bean porridge. The food was ready. I ladled out to bowls, plated the buns and dough sticks, boiled some eggs, and prepared a side dish. When Chloe walked out of the bathroom, she was greeted by what looked like a beautiful, hearty breakfast on the table. It should have been a sweet moment, but Chloe was not touched. She knew her husband too well. In our 3 years of marriage, I had never cooked or cleaned once. All I knew how to do was spend. The background check she ran before our wedding never mentioned any domestic skills. Suspicion instantly bloomed in her mind. I have just been hiding it. We had maids before, so I never needed to work. Now, with our budget, we cannot keep dining out. My cooking is basic, but it is edible. If you do not mind, you can eat at home from now on. So when Grandpa asked if you could cook, you lied to him? Chloe asked, picking up her spoon for a taste. I froze for a second, then laughed it off. My skills are nothing compared to the pro chefs her grandpa is used to. I was honestly too embarrassed to show off my simple home cooking. The excuse sounded plausible enough. Chloe nodded, saying, "It's actually not bad." Watching her eat with such elegance, I suddenly understood that making a woman accustomed to the finest cuisine, eat cheap street stall food was asking way too much of her. After breakfast, Chloe offered to carry the dishes to the kitchen, but I quickly stopped her. "It's fine. I'll clean up and wash them. You go handle your things," she replied. "Our business affairs aren't fully settled yet. I'll likely be back late tonight, so don't worry. Just call if you need anything." Once Chloe left, I finally felt a sense of relief. I thought to myself that even in her downfall, her innate aristocratic air was undeniable. That subtle, intense aura of hers was always there. If I hadn't seen a thing or ... in my past life, I might not have been able to handle it. I had a lot to do today, too. I needed to buy apartment essentials and photograph all those luxury watches and clothes to sell online. I figured if I sold everything, I could probably get over $1 million. That would give Chloe some startup capital for whatever she wanted to do next. Besides that, I needed to research the local web novels in this world and consider picking up my old profession. In my original world, I was a web novelist. My college major was interior design, but after graduating, I didn't want it as my main career, so I Started writing instead, occasionally taking on freelance design jobs for extra cash. Life was pretty good back then. I washed the dishes, grabbed my shopping list, and headed out. I've never been one for leisurely shopping. So I bought what I needed, came back to put it away, and started photographing the watches and clothes. I worked straight through until evening and was completely exhausted by the time I finished just the watches. I heated up the leftover buns from the morning, took a few bites, and decisively retreated to my room to browse web novels. I couldn't handle any more physical labor today. It was time for mental work instead. 2 hours later, I clapped my hands happily and downed the coffee on my desk in one gulp. I discovered that the web novels here were slightly behind those in my original world. The stories I had written before could be rewritten here even better. This was a massive opportunity. Just then, I heard the front door open. I hesitated a second, then jumped out of bed and ran out. The door hadn't been deadbolted last night. Chloe was probably used to living in a secure mansion and forgot that cheap apartments like this must be locked from the inside. Seeing me come out, she paused while hanging up her coat. "You're back," I said. "I realized this morning the door wasn't deadbolted. You're used to mansion security, but we don't have that here anymore. You have to bolt these doors at night, or a burglar could pry it open easily." "I see," she replied. Since we were practically strangers, I had to initiate conversation. "Have you eaten?" "I have. I bought some daily necessities today. If you need anything, let me know and I'll grab it. I don't need anything for now." Conversation over. What else was there to say? I thought for 3 seconds and decided to make a hasty retreat. "Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to my room. Call if you need anything." Only after I closed my door did Chloe survey the apartment. She even took a stroll through the kitchen and bathroom. The place had many new things, making it feel much more lived in. Was this man actually planning to stay? It was like he was a totally different person. I, of course, had no idea what Chloe was doing. I was completely focused on cleaning up the computer. The body's original owner had worked hard enough to get into a good university, but he basically coasted through college, and his computer skills were an absolute mess. This laptop was painfully slow. I had to clean it out to see what he'd been up to. As I was browsing, I came across the photo folder. It contained many subfolders, mostly filled with the original guy's selfies and a few pictures of his parents. The last folder had a garbled name. I clicked it, and wow, it was packed with photos. Of a woman. She looked like a wealthy socialite. Very pretty but not really my type. Her smile gave off a pure, delicate vibe. Seeing how close they looked in those photos made my soul shiver. I quickly checked the dates. Thank goodness they were all taken before the marriage. That really gave me a scare. One kept a few harmless pictures, deleted the rest, and then it hit me. This woman was the original owner's college girlfriend, a wealthy heiress. Since they broke up ages ago, there was no reason to keep these. I was lucky Chloe wasn't the jealous type. If she had found these, it would have been a ticking time bomb. By the time I finished cleaning the computer, it was nearly 11 p.m. I yawned and flopped onto the bed to sleep. The next morning, I woke up even earlier than the day before. Instead of going out for breakfast, I decided to whip up some fried rice myself, along with some sides. By the time Chloe got up, everything was nearly ready, so she could eat right after washing up. Chloe looked at the hearty plate of fried rice, a bit surprised. "You know how to make this?" "Yeah, I can't cook a ton of things, but I can handle simple home-cooked meals. It's not gourmet, but it's edible." "I hope you don't mind." Chloe took a bite. "Not bad, it's actually pretty good. Glad you like it. I'll be home for lunch. Today." I froze, then quickly recovered. "What would you like?" "Whatever you're making, but I'd like rice." "Okay. How about sweet and sour ribs, stir-fried? Tomatoes and eggs, and an egg drop soup. Will that be enough?" "That should be fine. Then you can head out and not worrying about a thing." After eating, Chloe grabbed her coat and left. Naturally, I was left to clear the table. Outside the apartment complex, Chloe got into a waiting car. The driver was her former assistant, Liam, a close family friend her grandfather had chosen to grow. Up alongside her. As soon as she settled in, he handed her a paper bag. "Chloe, breakfast from Shelley's." "No thanks, I've already eaten." Ethan made fried rice. Liam's hand froze midair, his eyes wide with shock. What? Ethan knows how to cook. This is the first I'm hearing of it. He made porridge yesterday, which felt like a miracle in itself. When he claimed he could cook, I thought he was just bragging, but today he actually made fried rice. I told him I was coming home for lunch, and he even offered to cook some dishes. Hearing this, Liam frowned. He's not plotting something, is he? I remember you two stayed out of each other's way. By the way, wasn't he demanding a divorce? I already looked up the legal process. Why is he so quiet now? Chloe looked up, a thoughtful smile playing on her lips. He says he doesn't want a divorce anymore. He's accepted our current situation and wants to live properly now. He even wants to earn money and told me not to stress so much. Liam leaned back in his seat, his tone unreadable. So what? He suddenly can't bear seeing you suffer, so he's sticking with you through. Thick and thin. If so, he's not such a bad guy. But he did nothing in college, and for the last 2 years of marriage, all he knew was how to spend money. One day he wants a divorce. And the next he's completely changed his mind. What do you think? Well, they say adversity reveals a person's true character. Maybe his conscience got the better of him. You never really know someone until they're truly tested. We've seen plenty of people turn their backs on us lately. Maybe Ethan is just someone whose true colors show in a crisis, perhaps. Let's go. It's not like he can change anything anyway. We'll just wait and see. Meanwhile, I spent my entire morning photographing clothes. There was no way I'd wear 80 outfits myself, so keeping a dozen or so to make a good impression was plenty. I'd sell the rest and buy some regular clothes with the cash. After more than 2 hours, I was only halfway done. I glanced at the clock on the wall, and saw it was already 10 a.m. Realizing I needed to go grocery shopping, I quickly packed up, threw on a jacket, and headed out. Walking back from the supermarket with 2 large bags in hand, as I crossed the street, someone called my name. I turned and saw a beautiful, exquisitely dressed woman. A closer look revealed her as the girl from the photos. Last night, the second she saw me turn, she rushed over. Ethan, how did you end up like this? I looked down at my clothes, then at the bags in my hands, totally confused. Is there a problem? What are you doing here? The woman looked at me with deep affection. Leave Chloe and come back to me. I can give you a better life now. It hurts to see you suffer. Come back, and I promise I'll treat you well. If I didn't have the original guy's memories, I might have actually believed that loving look. Vanessa Reed, second daughter of the Reed Corporation, and the body's former owner's ex-girlfriend. Back when they were together, she loved his devotion while mocking him as a gold digger. Even with all her wealth, she never spent a single dime on him during their entire relationship. He was always the one paying, acting as her loyal servant to feed her massive ego. It wasn't until Chloe entered the picture that she staged this deep love act, trying to make him reject Chloe's proposal. The original guy was truly in love, scraping pennies together just to spend them on her, but she only wanted to toy with him. Luckily, he had enough sense not to fall headfirst into her trap. He was actually on the verge of turning Chloe down, but a twist of fate revealed a whole new side of Chloe, which made him give up on Vanessa for good. It was because of this that he started believing money was the only real, reliable thing in life, turning him into a massive spendthrift. You could say this woman was responsible for at least half his tragic downfall. And now, this toxic woman was showing up, and it definitely wasn't out of love. I had no idea what she was plotting, but it couldn't be good. Chloe used to be someone Vanessa could only admire from afar. Now that Chloe had fallen, stealing me away would be another massive blow to Chloe's pride. Maybe she had other plans for Chloe too. So I shook my head and told her, I'm not going with you. Go back to wherever you came from. Why? Chloe is a has-been. She only dragged you down. What do you even see in her? A married couple shares the good times and the bad. I'm her husband, so of course I have to stay by her side, no matter what. I can't just abandon her. This is a temporary setback, but even if she were completely paralyzed, I'd still take care of her. It has nothing to do with money or hardship. As long as she doesn't divorce me, I won't leave her, especially when she needs me most. What nonsense are you talking about? If I'm not mistaken, you two barely even spoke. She just gave you cash to go shopping. You have zero feelings for her, so why suffer alongside her? Vanessa looked at me like I was an idiot. Who says she wasn't good to me? Back when she had money, she gave me a generous allowance every single month. She didn't have time for me, but I could spend whatever I wanted. Yes, that cash was pocket change to her, but money doesn't grow on trees. Giving it was a kindness, keeping it would have been her right. Since she gave it, I should be grateful. Now that she's down on her luck, even if we were to divorce, she's still letting me live in the rented apartment and keeping most of what's left. She's been incredibly fair to me. If that isn't good, then what is? We never had real feelings for each other to begin with, so for her to act with such integrity is respectable. You say she's bad, but are you any better? How am I not good? If you were with me, I would treat you so well. Before Vanessa could continue, I cut her off. In college, I was broke, and you always looked down on me, thinking I was just trying to leech off you. We knew each other for almost 2 years, and during that entire time, you never spent a single cent on us. Even the gifts you gave me were freebies you got from buying other things. Meanwhile, I worked part-time jobs just to spend money on you, and then you dumped me. You call that good? What are you talking about? What kind of person do you think I am? Did Chloe say something to you? Did you misunderstand me? Vanessa's eyes darkened. You think too highly of yourself, sweetheart. Someone like Chloe wouldn't even mention you to me. You aren't even on her radar. You're the only one constantly staring at her, trying to get her attention. Like the old saying goes, you project your own insecurities onto others. Just go away. I don't want to say anything harsher. Vanessa's face darkened even more as she stepped closer, suddenly putting on a fragile, helpless look. Ethan. Chloe must have brainwashed you. Why would you think that? I really do care about you. Chloe is just clinging to you because she's broke now. You can't be this naive. Stop right there. Don't come any closer. To put it simply, abandoning your wife when she's down is a total scumbag move. I'm not leaving her like this, so give up. If I ever do leave her, it'll only be when she doesn't need me anymore. Vanessa was about to speak when a sudden round of applause and cheers erupted nearby. Well said, that young man is absolutely right. What a good man. If only everyone thought like that nowadays, there would be fewer broken families. What a real catch, his wife is so lucky. Only then did I notice a group of seniors nearby, clearly heading home from their morning exercise. They were standing just a short distance away. The group walked over, and the lead man looked Vanessa up and down, shaking his head. Tsk, young lady, this man is happy with his wife. It's not right to come here trying to break them up. Just think if you were married and some woman tried to steal your husband. How would you feel? Treat others how you want to be treated. Exactly, you say he should divorce her and run to you just because she's broke. Can you guarantee you'll never fall on hard times? It was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, the whole group of seniors began lecturing Vanessa one by one, not even giving her a chance to talk back. Instantly, she was branded a morally corrupt, shameless homewrecker. I quickly backed away to let the seniors do their thing, hiding behind the crowd to stifle my laughter. This woman desperately needed a lesson, and they were the perfect crowd to teach her. I have to get home and cook, so I'll be heading out. We can chat later. Don't worry, son. Go on ahead. We'll handle this. Not far away, Chloe and Liam sat in their car. They had witnessed the entire scene and sat frozen for a long time. Only when Vanessa meekly admitted she was wrong and was finally let go by the seniors did Liam speak up, his voice filled with disbelief. Chloe, that was Ethan, right? He feels like a completely different person. It was him. Then Ethan is a genuinely good guy. I thought he was just a gold-digging spendthrift, but now that you're bankrupt, he refuses to abandon you. He's choosing to stay by your side, and not even out of love, but pure duty. Like those seniors said, his moral compass is pointing straight north. At that moment, Chloe couldn't help but feel that her entire perception of me might have been completely wrong. After parting ways with Liam, Chloe went straight home. The moment she opened the door, she saw me curled up on the rug in front of the sofa, laptop in hand, my fingers flying across the keyboard. The apartment was filled with the rich aroma of simmering meat. You're back. Chloe set the fruit she bought next to the coffee table and walked over, curious. Peeking over, she saw that I was actually writing a novel. Sorry, I figured since I've forgotten most of my college major, I'd try this instead. I still know the basics, and since I read a lot, I understand the market. I thought I'd try writing a web novel. You don't mind, do you? I asked, my fingers never stopping. Chloe felt it fit my current situation perfectly. It wasn't like she expected me to make real money anyway, so she gave a shrug. As long as you're happy. I knew this proud, wealthy woman probably looked down on web novels and didn't get it, so I changed the subject. The ribs are simmering. It'll be about another hour before we can eat. Why don't you go get comfortable? Chloe nodded, went to wash up and change, and then disappeared into her bedroom. An hour later, I knocked on her door to call her for dinner. On the table, 2 bowls of rice sat next to a vibrant spread of colorful dishes, bright with fresh reds and greens. I had even added delicate garnishes, showing how much effort went into this meal. This is my first time making sweet and sour ribs, so I hope they're okay. Give them a try. If you don't like them, I can quickly make a smashed cucumber salad. Ever since my parents passed away during my college years, I had lived on my own. Influenced by their memory, my standards for daily living weren't excessively high, but they definitely weren't low either. I cleaned regularly, cooked fresh meals whenever I had time, and lived a very disciplined life. So my daily life skills were solid. Honestly, calling myself decent was just me being polite. I was no master chef, but my home cooking was pretty great. I was always the designated cook when my friends gathered and I always got tons of compliments. Chloe picked up a piece with her chopsticks, tasted it, and nodded. Not bad, it is actually pretty good. Great, then eat up. The past few days have been rough. You haven't eaten or slept well. I poured a glass of the lemon tea I had made and slid it over to her. It is lemon tea with a touch of honey, great for vitamin C. Drink up, and do not mind if it is a little sour. Chloe gave me a questioning look. She probably felt like the man in front of her was a total stranger, someone who did not match her background check or the person she had lived with for 2 years. But then again, she had never paid me much attention, so she could not be sure her info was complete. She suppressed her doubts for now. You have worked hard. Not at all. I am home all day, sheltered from the elements. You are the one dealing with everything out there. It must be exhausting, so you should eat more, I said with a smile. Thinking back, I knew the old Chloe used to be completely out of everyone's league. When old Mr. Sterling was alive, nobody dared to cross his family. And Chloe had been the star child, the gold standard other parents always compared their own kids to. Now that Mr. Sterling was gone, the more distant branches of the family were only thinking about how to carve up whatever wealth was left. They were genuinely eager to see Chloe fail, offering no help. They were more than happy to kick her while she was down, relishing the sight of someone they once looked up to being trampled. Before I transmigrated, when I read the novel, I never understood why Chloe refused to let her best friends help her. If she had just accepted their support, she would not have fallen so low. Unfortunately, our current relationship was pretty strained, so I did not feel comfortable asking. I figured that as a former heiress, she had her reasons. I do not know if Chloe enjoyed the food, but I was completely satisfied. She probably did not hate my cooking, since she finished 2 bowls of rice. I will leave the dishes in the sink for now, do not worry about them. I will wash them after my nap. I carried them into the kitchen sink, washed some fruit, and brought it to the coffee table before sitting down to type. Rewriting content I had already written before was naturally a breeze, and my typing speed was already highly practiced. In just one morning, I finished a 2,000-word outline. At this rate, I estimated I could write 20,000 words by tomorrow and submit it. Chloe and I were in a tight spot right now and desperately needed cash. I knew nothing about business, so my only option was earning more money to ease her pressure. She went back to her room, and I had no clue what she was doing behind that closed door. Around 1:30, I forced myself to shut down the laptop and take a nap. The living room went dead silent. In her bedroom, Chloe hesitated before texting Liam back. Forget it. I will see how he acts from now on. No need to investigate him anymore. Maybe I am overthinking things. Let us just wait. Less than an hour later, my alarm woke me up. I crawled out of bed, head spinning. Stumbling to the bathroom, I found the door closed. Mentally cursing myself, I grabbed the handle and yanked it open. Just as I was about to step inside, I looked up and came face to face with her. Sorry, I was half asleep. I thought I was home alone. I yelled, and blushing furiously, I ran back to my room and slammed the door. I wanted to kick myself. It was so embarrassing. It took me a while to calm down. When I finally stepped out again, Chloe was leaving the bathroom. We made eye contact again, even though we were 15 feet apart. It is fine, do not be embarrassed. This apartment is small, so we will see each other constantly. You will get used to it. Right, of course, I will get used to it. Are you not heading out today? I have finished my work for the day, so I am staying in this afternoon. After saying that, Chloe added, I will be home for the next few days. Is there anything you need my help with? I felt a bit uneasy. What is wrong? Is something up? Even though I grew up in the Sterling family, I am not completely helpless. It is just about basic life skills. Since we are sharing this small space, tell me directly if you need anything. I am not someone who only knows how to make money, okay? Do you understand? Looking at her serious expression, I actually found it kind of cute. Whether she was winning or losing in business, her beauty was flawless. As the most gorgeous woman created by the author, she was stunning even when expressionless. I thought it was pretty impressive that I could look at her and stay totally calm. After speaking, Chloe gave me a lingering look and went back to her room. Just then, I realized something, jumped up, and ran to her door. What do you want for dinner? Anything. I am not picky. Well, the heiress was easier to please than I expected. I strolled back and kept typing at the coffee table. Right after finishing a chapter, I remembered the listings I put on the resale app and checked them. Wow, I had already sold 12 luxury watches and 2 outfits. I did not really know the value of these luxury goods. Before listing them, I checked online prices and offered them at an 80% discount. Most items were still in their original boxes, but I was worried Chloe might need urgent cash, so I did not dare to price them too high. I thought no one would buy such high-end items, but they sold surprisingly fast. I wrote down the shipping addresses, saved the file, and rushed to my room to gather the watches and clothes. Since there was a lot to ship, I scheduled a courier pickup. Half an hour later, everything was packed and the courier arrived. Chloe must have heard the noise because she opened her door and stepped out. What are you doing? I had too many old clothes and watches. Since I do not go out much now, they were just taking up space. I decided to clear them out, and these sold today. I need to ship them out now. You do not have to do that. We are not so desperate that you need to sell your things. Actually, they just take up space and they are outdated anyway. I would not use them even if I kept them, so turning them into cash is better. If I see something new I like later, I can buy it then. That should save the heiress's pride, right? I thought I was being incredibly thoughtful, but I do not know which of my words struck a nerve. Chloe's hand, which was holding mine, trembled slightly before she let go. She did not stop me, simply saying, all right, we will buy new ones later. Buy new ones? As if a single watch does not cost tens of thousands of dollars enough to cover my living expenses for half a year. Buy a few of those and I would be broke. I complained internally, keeping my face completely blank, since an heiress has her pride. I put on a smile. I will wait for you to buy me new ones then. Chloe was momentarily stunned by my smile, a familiar face that now felt so foreign lately. She looked down at the packed boxes on the floor, bent over, and helped me put them into the courier's bag. Once the courier left with the packages, Chloe finally asked, how much are you planning to sell? Originally, there were over 100 watches and 80 outfits. Over 70 of those watches were never even opened, so I planned to sell all of those. Of the remaining 50, I will sell around 40, keeping 10 watches for myself. As for the clothes, I will keep about 30 outfits and sell the rest. I thought Chloe would stop me, but surprisingly, she just nodded in silence. She picked up an apple and started peeling it on the sofa. I could not figure her out, wondering if my actions had hurt her pride, but survival mattered more than her complicated feelings. Even if she minded, there was nothing I could do. I checked this morning and found that housing prices in this novel's world had only risen by half of their eventual peak. I did not know what Chloe's plans were or if she could make a comeback, but regardless, I had to buy an apartment first. After selling these watches and clothes, I would have enough for a down payment. I could give the rest to Chloe and slowly pay the mortgage myself. That way, if she failed to recover, we would not be homeless. My mind was racing. Lost in thought, I stared blankly at the computer screen by the coffee table when suddenly, a peeled apple appeared before my eyes. Its sweet scent drifted over, sliced with stunning precision. I swallowed hard, realizing Chloe was offering it to me. She nudged the fruit a bit closer, saying, "You've been through a lot." Honestly, I felt incredibly flattered. In the original book, Chloe avoided men entirely and had zero patience for them. Now, here she was, peeling an apple for me with flawless skill. It was mind-blowing. I quickly took the fruit. "It's nothing," I said. "I bought them with your money anyway. I'm just grateful you never complained about my shopping habits before." Then, Chloe actually smiled. She usually looked so distant. Not cold, just totally unreachable. That sudden smile left me absolutely speechless. How could someone this gorgeous even exist? "Don't worry, I'll definitely buy you more watches in the future." I nodded on instinct, then felt a bit shy when I snapped out of it. "I believe you'll make a comeback," she said softly. "Don't rush. I'll be waiting for those watches." With a faint smile on her lips, Chloe stood up. I caught a flash of amusement in her eyes before she went to her room. I spent the afternoon writing, churning out over 10,000 words. After a quick, simple dinner, we returned to our separate tasks. I ended up staying awake until midnight, successfully hitting 20,000 words. The following morning, right after we finished breakfast, Chloe headed out first, and I sat down to submit my manuscript. Checking the resale site, I saw another 8 watches and 1 outfit had sold. It felt like massive piles of cash were pouring into my bank account, putting me in an incredible mood. Just as I finished submitting the pages, a sudden knock sounded at the door. "Who is it?" I called out, rising to answer as a man replied. "It's me, Julian Vance." Julian Vance. I racked my brain as I walked over, but the name meant nothing to me. Opening the door, I found a man standing there with a smirk that screamed smug arrogance. He immediately scanned me from head to toe, which made me highly uncomfortable. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Julian asked, already pushing his way inside. Still clueless about his identity, I blocked his path. "Who are you looking for?" "If you're Ethan, then I'm looking for you," he sneered, sidestepping me to squeeze inside. "Where's Chloe?" "She's not here, is she?" Since he had already forced his way in, I couldn't easily throw him out. I shut the door and poured some tea. "She left early. What do you want?" "What do I want? I have business, of course. Honestly, you're decent looking, but you have no background or actual talent. It's an absolute shame Chloe married you. I know it was only because her grandfather wanted to repay some old debt, but you've been married for years without helping her career once. All you do is waste money and play around. Aren't you ashamed? And who exactly are you to her?" "Chloe and I grew up together. We're childhood sweethearts, and she's always adored me. If not for you, we'd be together by now." "Funny. I've never heard of you." "Well, of course you haven't. Why would she ever mention me to you?" He was right. Chloe wouldn't have told the original husband. They weren't close at all, and she hated drama. I nodded slowly. "So, why did you come here?" "Chloe needs help. How can you bear to keep dragging her down?" "My father has already agreed to assist her, but only if we get married, so you need to divorce her." "If Chloe wanted a divorce, she'd tell me herself. Why would she send you to deliver the message?" "I'm not going to cling to her, or is this just your own fantasy?" "Chloe would never be so classless. She's obviously too embarrassed to bring it up. You have to initiate it. You've spent a fortune of her money without offering any help, yet she's never complained. Now that she's struggling, if you can't help, at least stop dragging her down. If you ask for the divorce, she can easily agree, and everyone saves face. Is this actually what Chloe wants?" "It's what I want. Why don't you get it?" "She won't take action, so we must. I need to be proactive. You divorce her, I marry her, and then we take my father's help." If this were Chloe's actual wish, I'd gladly sign the papers. But since it's just your idea, I have a question. Before we married, were you two even dating? Was she in love with you?" Julian froze, cup halfway to his lips. "That's not important. She's just bad at expressing her feelings. Besides, she doesn't love you either. I can actually support her, while you're just dead weight. I'm 100 times better for her." "You're completely wrong. I might not know Chloe perfectly, but I'm absolutely certain she'd never accept your father's help if it meant marrying you. You think you're doing her a favor, but thought about the consequences of relying on him. How would she face the world? She'd forever be known as the woman who bought her way back up through a forced marriage." Even without knowing her deeply, I knew the villainess of the novel wouldn't rely on anyone else. Her sheer refusal to compromise was exactly why she faced so many harsh struggles. How could someone like that ever use her own marriage as a cheap bargaining chip? At least, not yet. Honestly, I didn't mind divorcing Chloe, but definitely not like this. I wouldn't do it just because some random guy pressured me. My stance was firm. Whatever Chloe decided was up to her, and I'd respect that. Julian reacted like I'd stepped on a landmine. He exploded with rage. You just want to drag her down. How can you be so selfish? Chloe's been incredibly fair to you, and now that she has a real shot at a comeback, you're going to ruin it. You're disgusting, Mr. Vance. I've been polite. You barged into my home, throwing accusations. Anyone who didn't know any better would think you're desperate to be a homewrecker. Since when does an outsider get to meddle in my marriage? Even if you mean well, don't bring this to me. Go talk to her. I can't make her choices for her, and I won't hold her back if she wants a divorce. But think about it. If she actually liked you, why didn't you marry her before? You weren't even a couple. You say she's grateful, but your behavior makes her look terrible. And you haven't even considered the actual consequences for her. What right do you have to speak? You're just a spoiled brat who spends her cash. What gives you the right to judge me? The right comes from the simple fact that I'm legally her husband. As long as I am, I'll call out anyone interfering in our marriage. Yes, I used to just spend money and offer zero help, but she allowed it. She didn't mind then, so why are you so angry? If you want to marry her, convince her. Once you agree, I'll divorce her instantly. But if you try to force me, I refuse. You shameless leech. Julian slammed his cup down in rage. I wasn't even angry. I just calmly toyed with my cup. You're the one trying to ruin a marriage, yet you feel no shame. Where do you get off calling me shameless? Since you think so poorly of me, we have nothing left to discuss. So, you refuse to divorce her. Believe whatever you want. Realizing he wouldn't get his way today, Julian jumped to his feet and stormed toward the door. But before walking out, he spun around to scream, "Just you wait. Chloe will dump you eventually." The door slammed shut, and I let out a soft sigh. It's one thing for the protagonist to be chased, but the villain too. If not for my conscience, I'd honestly be tempted to just divorce her. But it was a fleeting thought. I couldn't hijack someone's body and act all entitled. Even though I hadn't personally spent all that money, on paper, it was all under my name. Shrugging the thought away, I opened my browser, logged the shipping addresses, and went to find those watches in my room. Once I sorted the sold items, I called the courier to ship today's sales out early. After a quick calculation, I realized the pieces I had sold so far were worth nearly $2 million. Once the buyers got their packages, a massive sum would hit my bank account. Selling just a few more things meant I could put down a deposit on a small apartment and finally buy my own place. The thought filled me with absolute motivation. I was not in the mood to write, so I opened up a browser to browse local real estate listings. Finding the perfect place required careful research. Before I knew it, it was almost midday. I did not even close my open tabs before running to the kitchen. The grand heiress had mentioned she would return for lunch, and I was running behind because I got so hopelessly lost in daydreaming about my bright future. I decided to prep wontons for lunch. The savory filling was already mixed, and since I bought the wrappers yesterday, I worked fast. My hands moved with a practiced, almost rhythmic ease. I wrapped one every couple of seconds, quickly shaping more than 20. While I was folding them, the grand heiress walked back in. I was so in the zone I did not look up. "You are back, yes. What are you preparing?" Chloe stood by the door, watching my hands fly but unable to see what I was actually assembling. "Just making wontons," I answered. "We are having them for lunch. I will pan-fry some flatbreads too, so we do not have to worry about staying full," I said naturally. Hand-rolling flatbreads while shaping wontons required skills far beyond an ordinary home cook. Chloe looked suspicious for a second, but watching me sit quietly, expertly folding wontons, she decided it was not worth overthinking. "Now that I think about it, I have not eaten these in forever," she blurted out. Instantly realizing it was a strange remark, she stopped talking and retreated to the bathroom to wash her hands, clearly trying to hide her slip-up. I completely missed her awkwardness. I just loved wontons myself, and I figured with all her company problems, Chloe had not had the mental energy to plan meals anyway. Besides, wontons are just comfort food, so going a while without them was normal. Do you want to eat a larger portion? I can boil a bigger batch. I can freeze the leftovers, so we can easily heat them up on days we do not feel like cooking. Make some extra then, she said, drying her hands. She had not eaten street food like this in years, maybe 3 or 4. If I had not brought it up, she would not have even noticed how long it had been since she actually relaxed. All right, I will prep a few more, I said, keeping my fingers moving. To me, life was finally full of simple pleasures and hope. A good life is whatever you make of it, and getting a second chance was a massive stroke of luck. Just sitting here making and eating wontons felt like true happiness. Nearly an hour later, two steaming bowls of fresh wonton soup sat on the table. I called Chloe over. I was already seated and nodded toward the empty chair, urging her to join me. Grinning with anticipation, I said, "Go on, try one. I think they turned out pretty good. I was not sure about your appetite, and soup alone is not super filling, so I made some flatbread wraps. Do you know how to eat them?" She found my question amusing but kept a straight face. "Of course I do. I am a normal person." She sat down, took a bite, and offered her review after a brief pause. "The flavor is not bad. See, I told you they were delicious. It is mostly because I love eating them myself. Since you like them, eat up." We ate at different speeds. Although she finished only half as much as me, we cleared our bowls at around the same time. This time, as I was about to do the dishes, she suddenly spoke up. "I will buy a dishwasher later. It is just a couple of plates, no need to waste money." "It is not that expensive," Chloe replied smoothly. I immediately winced in conflict. What was she thinking? Had the fallen heiress not accepted her new reality yet? Did she still not grasp that we were no longer wealthy? I debated pointing this out bluntly, but seeing her brows knit together slightly, the words that left my mouth changed completely. "All right, I will go buy one later. Do not stress yourself about it. I am extremely picky, so it might take me a while to find the right model." I sighed internally. Attractive people have it so easy. I could not bring myself to say a single thing that might bruise her fragile pride. Since I claimed to be picky, she would not suspect anything if I took months and found nothing. Observing my tense expression, Chloe suddenly understood exactly what her husband was struggling with, and a strange wave of emotion washed over her. Although her grandfather made her experience intense hardship during her childhood, she had never known financial lack after completing her training at 15. This time, she was not actually broke, her husband just assumed she was. Yet even with that assumption, he never once mentioned her supposed lack of money to her face. It left her with a peculiar feeling, one she could not quite pinpoint. "I have tasks to finish. I will be in my room." Chloe walked away, leaving me to clean up alone. I hummed a little tune while washing up, thinking that life was actually pretty great. I had shelter, hot food, and my online sales were booming. Soon, I would buy my own apartment. Life was only getting better. Besides, the fallen heiress was incredibly capable, and her ultimate comeback was only a matter of time. Maybe she would even split some profits with me eventually. But even if she never recovered, I could support us. Having her around as a companion meant I did not have to face life's crises alone. She would not stay idle forever. If she eventually wanted a divorce to live a simpler life, I would let her go, and that I could search for someone compatible. Living our own separate, quiet lives would be perfectly fine. After tidying the kitchen, I wrote for a while before planning a nap. Right then, Chloe swung her door open and walked out. "Did Julian Vance give you trouble today?" "Not exactly. He told me to file for divorce, but I refused. I figured there was nothing going on between you two, but if you have feelings for him, we can divorce. He mentioned his father could assist you if you married him. Nothing is happening between us, and I will not divorce you over him. You did the right thing. As for other matters, we can discuss them later. I do not need assistance, and these are not issues his father can fix anyway." "I understand," I replied. That made sense. I got up, preparing to head back to my bedroom for a nap. Chloe suddenly broke the silence, looking at me with curiosity. "Is there something else? Since when do you take afternoon naps?" My body tensed up, and I explained somewhat sheepishly. I just realized my old sleep habits were awful, and my health was taking a hit. "I am forcing a change. You should try napping too. It gives you a real energy boost." "Then go rest," Chloe said, heading straight back to her bedroom. I stood there anxiously, wondering if I had slipped up. But after a massive life shock like a total family bankruptcy, it is completely normal for someone to change, right? Meanwhile, Chloe sat at her desk with a vacant expression, deep in thought. After a few minutes, still seemingly on the fence, she grabbed her phone to make a call. Order a dishwasher and have it delivered to my address within the next few days. I still need to observe a few things. Until then, keep everything as is. Hanging up, she tossed her phone onto the desk. Her eyes drifted to the bed as she recalled my advice. Was an afternoon nap really that beneficial? Before she knew it, she lay down on the mattress, letting her muscles relax, and it felt surprisingly good. She had been overwhelmed with work for the last several years, missing out on proper rest for a long time. Suddenly, it was already 2:30 in the afternoon. I stepped out of my bedroom, stretched lazily, and walked to the bathroom to wash my face. As I emerged, I saw Chloe leaving her room, her eyes still heavy and hazy with sleep. My God, is this how the heiress looks when she wakes up? She is gorgeous. It is hard to believe she is supposed to be a villain. The author must have spent massive effort designing this character just to give her such a tragic, unfair end. What a complete waste. Lost in thought, I forgot to guard my expression, accidentally letting a flash of pity show on my face. Chloe caught that look. It seemed to sting her, and she instantly looked away. Do you need the bathroom? No, I am completely finished. Go ahead. I quickly stepped aside to let her pass, shrug, and sat back down. I sat down at my computer to write. As soon as I opened Instagram, a friend request popped up. The note said it was from an editor at a literary site. Just then, hearing the noise outside, Chloe came out. Drying her hands, she asked, "What's wrong? My novel passed its first review. Once it clears the second, it'll start making money." "Really? Congratulations, thanks." "You too," I replied. After that, I ignored Chloe, burying myself in my novel and typing away. Seeing how busy I was, she headed back into the bathroom. Later that afternoon, I scheduled a courier pickup, and a young woman soon arrived at my door. "Mr. Evans, did you start an online shop? These watches are gorgeous. Any chance you could sell me one? I'd love to buy one with a discount as a gift for my boyfriend." I was startled and quickly shook my head. "Sorry, I don't run a shop. I'm just helping a friend ship these. They aren't cheap either. I think they cost tens of thousands." "I can't make a call on that kind of cash, but I can ask her." "Tens of thousands, oh my God, they must be luxury." "I suppose so. They look expensive." Just as I said that, the elevator doors nearby slid open and Chloe stepped out. It was clear she had overheard our entire conversation. "What's happening?" she asked. "Nothing. The courier liked a watch, but since they're not mine, I offered to ask my friend for a discount." "Oh, no, if they're luxury pieces, never mind. I'm just a regular person. I couldn't pull off something that pricey anyway." "Are these all the packages? I'll get them scanned and sent out right away." "Yes, that's all of them. Thanks for your help." The courier took the boxes and stepped into the elevator. Realizing I was blocking the doorway, I quickly stepped aside to let Chloe in. "Back so soon? There wasn't much to do today. Why did you claim those watches belonged to someone else?" "It didn't feel safe to say they were mine. Our building's security is weak. If word got out, it could be dangerous. Plus, that courier comes here often, so we're familiar. I'll need her help later. If I claimed ownership but refused a big discount, she might resent me and target my packages. Sure, I could file a complaint to resolve it, but that's a massive headache. Ultimately, you can't truly know people, and we aren't close friends. It's simply not worth taking the risk." "That's quite sensible. By the way, there's a gala coming up in a few days that we must attend together. You should get ready." "A gala? I've barely been to those." "Won't I just embarrass you?" "It's fine. At this point, nobody can cause me any real trouble anyway. And even if they did, a little more wouldn't matter." Chloe calmly picked up a glass of water from the table. Her words left a stinging, bitter taste in my mouth. "All right, I'll prepare myself." Over the next 2 days, Chloe kept up her routine of leaving early and returning late, though she was always home for breakfast and dinner. I started making meals for both of us, spending my days typing my novel, selling items, and researching how to carry myself at a high-end gala. Then, one afternoon, when Chloe walked in, she didn't find me curled up on the sofa. Instead, the moment the door clicked open, I stared at her with an intense, slightly strange expression. She glanced at the pile of suits on the sofa. What's this? Did you buy all of these? My lady, please help me. I haven't attended a gala in years. I have no clue what's appropriate. I picked out these suits, but I can't tell which is best. Could you choose? Didn't you used to pride yourself on choosing your own clothes? The sudden downfall of my family made me sensitive, making me stubborn about my outfits to protect my pride. But I've thought it through. A person is who they are. There's no point being touchy and letting others look down on you. It is much better to just admit when you do not know. It seems you have really thought this through. So, which suit works best? I truly cannot decide, Chloe. She scanned them and pointed to a classic black suit. This one, it's understated and highly appropriate. Okay, this is the one. Once we chose the suit, I packed the rest away. When it was time to leave for the party, Chloe drove us. I intentionally climbed into the back seat. She glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You aren't wearing much. Won't you be cold? I'm fine. It's a long-sleeved shirt, so it's quite warm. Why do I feel like you're acting a bit strange toward me? How so? We have no reason to fight, and you've been incredibly good to me. I'm very grateful. It's just that we barely interacted before, and now we're always together. I'm still adjusting, but I'll get used to it. Chloe watched me in the rearview mirror as I scratched the back of my neck. My forced smile quickly faded, leaving me looking rather lost. Suddenly, she stopped talking, and a heavy silence filled the car until we arrived at the city's grandest hotel. Chloe and I had barely reached the doors when someone casually yet deliberately blocked our path. Standing there was a slightly plump man with greasy hair, an overdressed woman on his arm, and a sneer of pure malice. The East Side land, I hear Vanguard Group is eyeing it closely. Shouldn't you be paying attention to that, Mr. Lawson? Mr. Lawson froze, his face twisting in anger before he managed a strained, forced smile. Miss Sterling, you look absolutely radiant tonight. It's been far too long. A pleasure. Chloe ignored him completely, leading me past him into the venue. As I followed her inside, I spotted several superficial friends from my past husbands or sons of wealthy heiresses, none of them respected. Some of them raised their glasses, seeming to want to approach me, but seeing Chloe next to me, they meekly backed away. A few even shot me questioning looks. Aren't you going over? Why would I? I don't need any trouble. We were never genuinely close anyway, just shallow acquaintances. Things are different now, so it's better we aren't friends. We had only taken a few steps when two young men, each with a woman on his arm, approached us. The faster one was slightly older, maybe 30, with a fake grin plastered on his face. Well, if it isn't Miss Sterling. Long time no see, and this gentleman is. Oh, my memory is fading. This must be your husband, right? It's rare to see you two out together. What's wrong? Is life getting tough, short on cash? I always heard you two didn't get along, but I guess those were just baseless rumors. It has been a while, Mr. Thorne. I thought you were too sick to leave your bed, but apparently you managed. When smart people trip in one spot, they avoid it next time. Others, not so smart, keep falling in the exact same spot until it ruins them. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Thorne? Indeed. But some past pitfalls are now treasures on the ground. And when there's treasure, every single person wants to claim it. I'm sure Miss Sterling understands. By the way, I heard your business is struggling lately. Since we're acquaintances, here's a friendly tip. Sometimes wealth isn't about cash, it's about connections. I instinctively balled my fists and stepped in front of Chloe. Just then, a woman's voice cut in from the side. Chloe, what are you doing here? Both men went pale and quickly backed away. Just looking around. What are you two doing here anyway? Since when can you just walk up and talk to my sister? Have the Thorne and Stone families completely lost their manners? Why are you still standing there, waiting for a formal invitation to leave? Do you think I'm as patient as my sister? The two men nodded quickly and bolted. Their curious dates tried to look back, but they were sharply snapped at. Chloe, seriously, if you were coming, why bring him? And even if you did, you could have warned me. Those two idiots actually had the nerve to act tough in front of you. You are far too patient. It's fine, they're just clowns. But I never see you at these events. What brought you out tonight? I was worried you'd show up and get cornered by some morons. I had my agent cancel a booking just for this. Good thing I came, because those otherwise, Who knows what those two losers would have said? Scarlett turned her head to look at me, her gaze appraising me from head to toe. With my sister's current situation, you have no chance of getting any more money out of her. You can drop the act and leave when you are ready. I gave an awkward laugh and said nothing. Don't talk nonsense, we are not divorced yet. Let's sit over there. Fine, I'll go with you. With Scarlett sitting beside us, no one else dared to approach. Anyone with any status knew she wasn't someone to be trifled with. I had expected to face many awkward situations tonight, but after sitting for just a short while, Chloe was ready to leave with me. Scarlett tried to get Chloe to join her, but Chloe refused and we left together in the car. I watched Chloe drive, hesitating for a full 3 minutes before mustering the courage to speak. Did you achieve your goal at the gala tonight? I suppose so. You know how I sold all those watches and clothes? I've managed to save a small sum. Since our assets are settled and we are not in debt, why don't we buy a small apartment? We can make a down payment, and I can use my writing income to pay the mortgage. We'll keep 6 months of living expenses for emergencies, and you can use the rest for your business. Chloe paused, looking at me through the rearview mirror. There is no rush. How can there be no rush? Housing prices change every day. If we don't buy now, we'll lose out. The longer we wait, renting isn't a long-term solution. If you're worried, we can put the apartment in your name. With our own place, at least we know we won't end up homeless. All right, I'll consider it. After we got home that night, I went back to my room to write, while Chloe received a phone call. Chloe, I found the info you asked for. I've sent an encrypted file to your email. I haven't told anyone about this. Take a look. Chloe's laptop screen was open to her email. She let out a soft sigh, her index finger tapping a rhythmic pattern on the desk, her brows slightly furrowed. After a long moment, she picked up her phone to make a call. Hello, is this Master Williams? Is it possible for a person without multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia to suddenly seem like a completely different person, to the point where even their habits and values changed overnight? A few minutes later, she hung up. Chloe relaxed, leaning back in her chair, a smile suddenly touching her expressionless face. A new soul in an old body. The next morning, Chloe was finishing a scallion roll when she suddenly looked up, a look of interest in her eyes. What kind of stories do you usually write? I paused, holding my bun. My writing, I write all sorts of genres. I like to write a bit of everything, but my favorites are transmigration novels. I love stories with wild concepts. Does transmigration really exist? I think so. I believe it's real. No one can say for sure what the world truly is. Sometimes we think we live in a real world, but maybe it is just created by someone's pen. Who knows what reality is like? We can't even be sure of that, so how can we say for certain that transmigration doesn't exist? A world created by a pen. Of course, we might just be nameless background characters, or even the main character. If you were to transmigrate, what do you think your past life would have been like? Probably pretty happy, loving parents, an only child, free to do whatever I wanted. My parents might have passed away suddenly, but I would have studied what I loved, never lacked for food or money, and lived a decent life. As for how I transmigrated, probably by getting stabbed by a mugger while saving someone. A really unlucky way to go. That does sound unlucky. That is why you should think before you act, even with good intentions. You have to know your limits. Yeah, that is really important. We did not bring up the topic again. After breakfast, Chloe left and I stayed home to write. She was not coming back for lunch, so I happily ordered takeout. After eating, I quickly cleaned up and took out the trash. In the afternoon, I shipped out the sold items and went out to buy groceries. Walking through the supermarket, I suddenly realized my life now wasn't all that different from my previous one. Just as I thought this, an older woman next to me spoke up. Hey, aren't you that young man who was being harassed by that awful woman the other day? Out grocery shopping? Oh, it is you. Yes, I'm just picking up a few things for dinner. That's wonderful. Not many young men know how to cook these days. Your wife is so lucky to have you. Not at all. She's busy with work all day, so I've been doing the housework lately. I'm the lucky one to have met her. As long as a person is grateful, life treats them well. It's rare for a young man to have such a mindset. If your wife is as grateful as you are, your future will surely be bright. I smiled, picked out a good head of cauliflower, and was checking the tomatoes when Chloe appeared beside me out of nowhere. "What are you doing here? I got back early, so I came to pick up a few things and saw you." "It is okay, I only have 4 kinds of vegetables. It's not heavy, you get what you need." I saw some nice tomatoes over there and thought about making sweet and sour ribs, since Chloe seemed to enjoy sour flavors. I bought a variety of ingredients, some essential snacks, and paper towels. Then we went to check out together. "Well, hello again, young man. This must be your wife, right?" "She is absolutely beautiful. Yes, this is my wife." "I've never seen such a pretty young woman." "She's more beautiful than a movie star. No wonder you wouldn't divorce her. That other one who was bothering you is nothing compared to your wife. Her looks and her demeanor are totally lacking. I don't know how she had the nerve to approach you." I sucked in a breath, my heart pounding. Chloe looked at me with a meaningful expression, and I gave an awkward laugh. "The lady is right, that person is no good. They can't be compared. Even if I were crazy, I would never get involved with someone like that again. She only came looking for me with bad intentions. Luckily, I am not as naive as I used to be. I'm not so easily fooled." The cashier swiped my card and handed it back with both hands. "Here is your card, sir. Goodbye, ma'am." I quickly hurried out of the store with Chloe. Once we were outside, I started to explain. I think you probably know that before I married you, I had an ex-girlfriend named Vanessa Reed. Back in college, I didn't understand how deceitful people could be, so I fell for a toxic person like her. Of course, after we got married, I cut off all contact. The other day when I was coming out of the supermarket, she showed up looking for me. I knew she had bad intentions, so I immediately refused when she asked me to go with her. That older lady was one of the kind people who helped lecture her. Chloe nodded, indicating she knew of Vanessa Reed, second daughter of the Reed Corporation. "I hear she's very stingy." "Yes, extremely stingy. She used to put on such an act, pretending she was some kind of elite. Back then, the original me, I thought she was this incredibly outstanding upperclassman, so I felt insecure around her. Who knew I'd later hear she was actually interested in my classmate and was just playing with me? It makes me angry just talking about it. I can't stand toxic people like her. Just stay away from her from now on." "Yeah, I definitely won't give her the time of day. Dealing with someone like that is a waste of life." After we got back, I started preparing dinner. Chloe walked into the kitchen. "Need any help?" I was so startled I almost jumped, and quickly waved my hands. No, I can handle it. You have so much to do all day. Just go and focus on your work. I'll call you when dinner is ready." Chloe nodded and turned to leave. Wearing my apron, I continued to busy myself. Once the food was cooked and on the table, I went to knock on Chloe's door. Chloe let go of her mouse, closed all the tabs on her screen, and got up to eat. We usually didn't have much to say to each other, and I never felt like starting a conversation, but today was an exception. As soon as Chloe sat down, she spoke. "Someone is coming to install the dishwasher tomorrow." My hand holding chopsticks paused midair. "A dishwasher? A dishwasher? You bought a dishwasher? Didn't we agree I'd take my time picking one out?" "Well, you said you always have trouble making decisions, so I just grabbed one for you. All you have to do is use it." I felt a bit helpless. "Well, I'll try to stay home tomorrow then." The topic was closed. But just as we were resuming our meal, my phone rang. "Hello," I was stunned, not understanding who it was. I couldn't understand why Chloe wanted me to meet Spencer Montgomery. On the line, Spencer's voice kept going. "Ethan, don't be hostile to everyone just because you've hit a rough patch. You know, not everyone ... is out to kick you while you're down or laugh at you. Even if I can't do much, we can still chat and get your spirits up. You've been down for so long. Are you really going to keep bottling everything up?" In the past, Spencer had always acted like a caring older brother to me, someone I confided in completely. That was exactly why the old me used to do whatever Spencer told him to do. So, seeing my current cold shoulder, Spencer assumed I was just being proud and playing hard to get. "All right, since you put it that way, I'll meet you," I replied. Honestly, I was curious. I wanted to see what he had to say. Chloe signaled me, so I had to agree. The guy on the other end sounded thrilled. After a few words, we hung up. "Why do you want me to see him?" Chloe set down her chopsticks and spoke calmly. "Mr. Montgomery never acts without a reason. He used to seek you out just to pry for information about my daily movements. Since you're no longer useful to him for that, seeking you out now means he's found a new way to exploit you. If you refuse, he'll just find another angle. I understood instantly. The subtext was clear. If it's inevitable, we might as well let him get close right from the start. Sure enough, Chloe's next words confirmed my suspicion. It is always better to have some control than none. Being on guard against an obvious threat beats being blindsided in the dark. Yes, I understand, I replied. It wasn't that I didn't know this. It was just that my previous life never forced me to scheme like this. I still hadn't adapted to this new role or environment. But the great heiress was usually so quiet. Was she trying to teach me a lesson by bringing this up? Across the table, Chloe picked up her chopsticks and ate slowly. From my perspective, she maintained her usual, flawless elegance. She acted as if being targeted by schemers didn't bother her at all. And yes, they were targeting her. Personally, I didn't think I had anything left that Spencer would care to steal. The only prize worth his effort was the great heiress herself. Regarding my meeting with Spencer, Chloe gave me a single instruction: chat casually, but stay far away from any sensitive topics. Then, report back to her. I nodded, noting the location Spencer chose, a famous downtown coffee shop. When the invitation arrived, I looked it up online. Even the cheapest drink was over $200. When had I ever been that extravagant? On the day of our meeting, I made sure to dress sharp. Even if he mocked me later, at least he couldn't criticize me for looking sloppy. Still, I never expected Spencer's very first words to be a direct jab. Ethan, I know you're hurting. You've always been so proud, but now that things are this bad, why put on a brave face? I won't look down on you. If I didn't know his true colors, I might have actually believed he cared. It was honestly impressive how he delivered that line while looking so deeply concerned. You're joking, Mr. Montgomery. No matter how tough life gets, you can't stop looking your best. After all, I'm a handsome guy. It would be a complete tragedy not to dress up. Youth is short, so we shouldn't waste a single day. Besides, with my natural gifts, not looking sharp would be wasting God's favor. Since he threw the first punch, and I wasn't a pushover, I struck back. I went straight for his weak spot. All right, our Ethan is the most handsome. Let's go. I know you've been down, so let's grab some tea and talk. I can't do much. But I can at least listen to you vent. Getting it off your chest will help. Keeping his fake smile, he patted my shoulder as the waiter led us to a scenic private room. I marveled internally. This was a true playground for the wealthy, far superior to ordinary tea houses. The massive courtyard alone was breathtaking, clearly styled by a master designer. Seeing me stare, Spencer assumed I was longing for my lost life of luxury. He sneered internally but kept his voice smooth. Ethan, what would you like to drink? I snapped back to reality, my eyes lighting up as I rattled off a list of the shop's famous specialties I'd looked up online. Ethan, you ordered so much. Can you finish it all? I knew he was wondering why I'd lost all decorum, acting like a starving man. But I had no intention of hiding my attitude. If I can't finish, I'll just get it to go. To go? You're packing up leftovers. Are you really that desperate for food? Of course. It's wasteful not to. I'm not my old self anymore, so I have to save where I can. Besides, being frugal is a great virtue. Are you really that surprised, Mr. Montgomery? Do you have an issue with being virtuous? Spencer opened his mouth, completely speechless. He paused for a moment, then stammered, You're right. You're doing the sensible thing. Yes, I agree. The old me was far too extravagant, wasting money on endless luxury goods. I bought things I didn't even need. It was a complete waste of cash, time, and energy. If only I'd done something meaningful. You know, there are so many people out there who need real help. Why couldn't I see that before? Sponsoring kids in impoverished areas would have been so much better than stockpiling luxury junk just to let it gather dust at home. By the way, Mr. Montgomery, you must have helped a lot of poor folks, right? Spencer was great at playing the saint, but actually helping the needy was a joke to him. He was far too selfish for charity. He didn't want to spend his own money on anyone else. Yet, he flashed a warm, utterly sincere smile. Actually, yes, in my spare time, I often do what I can. My parents always taught me to share with those who are struggling. Spencer probably thought I wanted to discuss charity work, but I was about to completely pivot the conversation. Since you're so incredibly generous to total strangers, Mr. Montgomery, and we've been close friends for ages, now that I'm broke and struggling myself, won't you help me out? He never expected me, a guy who used to care so much about saving face, to say that. He was completely stunned. Mr. Montgomery, you have no idea how brutal my life is now. I can't even dream of buying clothes or watches anymore. Every single day I face my wife's cold shoulder, and I can't even mention money. When I call my old friends, they just ignore me. Watching his expression falter, I slid over next to him and gripped his hand tightly, trapping him. Mr. Montgomery, you're the only true friend I have left, the absolute only one. You're always so generous, throwing around hundreds of thousands of dollars like it's nothing. You wouldn't be stingy with an old buddy like me, would you? You'll help me, right? I squeezed his hand, keeping my tone completely sincere. Seeing him freeze up, I decided to twist the knife. You know, I haven't even had the chance to call our old female friends yet. That hit Spencer right where it hurt. He was desperate for a girlfriend, but every woman he liked avoided him. He tried to act perfect, but his reputation was already in the gutter. Too many people knew his true colors, so his family ordered him to lay low. He was supposed to disappear from the public eye until the gossip finally blew over. He wanted to use me to pull off something impressive for a girl he liked. But now, he forced a panicked smile. Ethan, what are you saying? We're friends. How could I possibly stand by and watch you suffer like this? Didn't I reach out the moment I got back to the country? You know me, I've always had a soft heart. I can't stand seeing strangers struggle, let alone you. Don't worry. Listen, I don't have much cash on me, but I can spare 100,000 or so. I'll transfer it later. Use it for emergencies and don't be a stranger, alright? So, what happened? After Chloe went bankrupt, how would I know? You know me, my major had nothing to do with business. Even if she explained everything, I wouldn't get it. As long as we have food on the table, it is fine. She has always been a busy person. I don't know what she does, and I wouldn't get it if I asked, so I don't. I actually thought about divorce, but since we are not in debt, I figured we should just stick it out. I heard Vanessa Reed came to find you. Yeah, but she's bad news. No matter how useless I am, I can't lose face in front of her, so I put on an act of being totally devoted to Chloe just to spite her. She couldn't compete with Chloe then, and she can't now. I might not be much, but Chloe still treats me well even in this mess, which shows she has real character. I'd rather trust a good person than a backstabber. But Spencer suggested maybe Vanessa realized she loved me after losing me, asking how I'd survive this tough life. Actually, I don't think things are so bad now. Back when we had money, there was constant drama, and my head was so cluttered with stress that I could only escape it by shopping. Now, things are peaceful, and I can do what I want. I can handle a simple life. I lived like this before college, so I have no complaints. I just need to figure out how to make money. He scoffed at the idea of me getting a job. What could I even do? He told me to imagine working a grocery counter and running into our old crowd, warning me that finding work is nearly impossible for someone like me, saying I'd only get basic, manual labor. I shrugged. What's so hard about that? I graduated from a top-tier university. Sure, I lack experience, but I can learn quickly. I have my degrees, English skills, and professional basics. I'll be fine. Spencer then remembered that I had actually gotten into that elite school entirely on my own merit, long before meeting Chloe or Vanessa. Comparing my success to his own terrible grades, which forced his family to buy him a degree abroad, made his mood sour instantly. Still, he wouldn't back down. He argued that a degree is nothing without experience, and that I couldn't compete with hungry, young graduates. I just smiled and said, it won't be easy, but I'll try. If I could survive those brutal university entrance exams, a simple job should be a breeze, right? Then I feigned regret. Oh, look at me. Why did I bring that up in front of you? Sorry, Spencer. It is totally natural that you wouldn't understand. Don't worry. Besides, you don't even need to work. I really envy you. You can live off your family now, and rely on your wife later. Just a life of pure leisure. In other words, I was calling him a useless parasite. Spencer struggled to keep his face from twitching, probably thinking bitter thoughts to himself about why my life was so pathetic because I didn't know how to talk. I, however, was having a blast. We traded subtle jabs, fully aware of the game we were playing while maintaining a polite, friendly veneer. The big difference was that his insults didn't faze me at all, whereas my casual remarks cut him straight to the bone. When we finally parted, I was absolutely thrilled, while Spencer looked ready to explode from pure, bottled rage. Before walking away, I made sure to remind him about the cash. Spencer, already scheming to invite me out again to gloat, nodded in agreement. He then reluctantly wired me $100,000. I took the money and headed home happy. When I walked in, Chloe was sitting on the couch, focused on her laptop. She looked up at the sound of the door opening. From the moment I stepped inside, changed my shoes, and washed my hands, a massive grin plastered my face. I was clearly in a great mood. "You are back." I laughed, shouting that I just made a free $100,000 today. I waved my phone in the air, boasting with absolute pride. "A free 100,000. Spencer gave that to you?" "Yeah," I replied. He wanted to show off and pry for info, but I shut him down. Then, I played poor, fed his ego, and backed him into a corner. I hinted that if he didn't help, I'd tell our entire social circle how stingy he is. He had to pay up to save face. Chloe suddenly fell silent. She was likely remembering how the old me used to blow fortunes on designer bags, whereas now I was thrilled over $100,000. Seeing her look at me, I added, "It is a waste not to take his money. It is not easy to squeeze cash out of him. Here, open your app, I will transfer it. It is free cash anyway, just think of it as payback. Don't worry about us running short." Chloe seemed surprised by my sudden generosity with the cash. "Is there anything you need me to do?" she asked. "No, we are all set at home. Nothing is broken." That wasn't what she meant, but looking at me, she realized we were on completely different pages. She silently pulled out her phone, opened the app, and held it out. Naturally, I transferred the entire sum, which I hadn't even gotten to enjoy yet, right into her account as if it were nothing. "Giving me all this free money, don't you feel a sting? After all, it was your money to begin with. Weren't you the one who always treated Spencer to meals? Now that we're broke, he should pay us back. I love money, but I'd rather earn it. In fact, I am already earning from my writing. With me around, you won't go hungry. We might not have luxury feasts, but I can guarantee solid, home-cooked meals." "Well, thank you," she smiled. "No need to be polite. You were always amazing to me in the past. By the way, I brought back some untouched leftovers. Want some?" Though Chloe grew up in extreme wealth, she was never wasteful, except when business deals required her to show off. At home, she ate regular meals prepared by a private chef, and she had even eaten leftovers back in college. "Sure," she said. I didn't expect her to agree so easily. I figured a wealthy heiress wouldn't touch takeout. I hesitated, remembering something. "Wait, it is actually just pastries and desserts." "Is that okay?" she shrugged. "What's the issue?" I fetched the bag from the entryway. Opening it up, it was packed with sweet pastries. Chloe casually took one and took a bite. After swallowing, she murmured that they taste much better when they are warm. "Have you had these before?" Chloe glanced up, slowly pulling out a napkin to wipe her fingers. "My grandfather loved them," she said. "Ah, so old Mr. Sterling was a fan," meaning the heiress used to buy them for him, or maybe they shared them. I suddenly realized I was poking at painful memories and felt incredibly awkward. "Sorry," I mumbled. "You don't need to apologize," she replied. "The past is separate from the present." Still feeling guilty, I asked, "What do you want for dinner tonight? I will cook for you." She had been so good to the original me, never giving me any trouble since my arrival. Yet here I was, rubbing salt in her wounds while she was already dealing with her family's bankruptcy. It felt awful. "Anything is fine," she said. "I have some errands, so I will be heading out shortly. I'll be back late tonight." "All right, you go ahead. I will wait to eat dinner with you." Chloe stared at me, clearly about to tell me not to bother waiting, but seeing my apologetic face, she stopped herself. "Okay," she softly replied. Once she left, I tidied up, did some writing, and then headed out to buy groceries. Around 8 p.m., the front door clicked open. I looked up from my laptop as Chloe walked in, quickly saving my progress. "You are back. The food is still warm. Are you hungry?" Chloe took off her coat, hanging it up. The winter chill she brought inside was instantly melted away by the cozy warmth of our apartment. I had already set the dining table, keeping the dishes covered so they wouldn't get cold. Chloe slipped off her shoes and stepped in. "You must be starving after waiting so long," she said. "Let me wash my hands. I might not make it home early in the future. If I'm running late, I'll let you know. Please eat when you are hungry, don't wait up for me." I nodded in agreement. It was not like Chloe had a 9-to-5 job with a fixed dinner schedule. Honestly, if she just stayed away, things would be much simpler for me. I could easily throw together a basic meal for myself. Feeling guilty, I ended up cooking a massive feast. I even took the time to steam fresh, delicate buns from scratch, scallion rolls, sweet-filled ones, and even cornbread buns, and sweet potato rolls. They looked adorable, just a few bites each. Chloe picked up a scallion roll and polished it off quickly. She really seemed to love them. "The buns are good, right?" I asked. I spent 3 or 4 days researching how to make the perfect steamed buns. I finally figured out the exact ratio and timing to get them this fluffy. The scallion and sweet ones are my absolute favorites, and my friends love them too. I babbled on, then suddenly froze. Shoot, I almost let something slip. That is a real skill. "You mean your college friends, right?" "Yeah, college friends. We lost touch after a while. I haven't made steamed buns in ages, actually. I'm just glad I haven't lost my touch." Thank goodness the heiress didn't suspect a thing, or she would have caught on instantly. I let out a quiet sigh of relief, totally missing the curious look on her face. "By the way," I said, "I simmered the chicken soup for hours today. You should have another bowl." The chicken soup I made was always a hit, and Chloe loved it. Restaurant soups always lack depth, but mine was always perfectly balanced. She knew it wasn't just about the taste, it was the feeling of someone pouring time and care into making it for you. When she was little, her mother also loved making chicken soup for her, even if it tasted terrible. But because her mom insisted it was healthy, Chloe's father always made her finish it. After her parents' fatal accident, Chloe had tried countless chicken soups. The family chefs and housekeepers tried to recreate her mother's recipe, but no one could ever replicate that specific taste. As she grew older, Chloe stopped showing any special love for the dish, and that memory faded. Deep down, she felt her patience with me was partly because she saw glimpses of her mother's warmth in my actions. "Why are you staring? Is there something on my face?" I asked. I realized she was just gazing at me. Didn't she know how intimidating that intense stare could be? Or had she sensed something was off again? "You have dark circles under your eyes," she noted. "What?" I got up and checked the mirror. After examining my face, I could faintly see a shadow. Was this the start of under-eye bags? I shivered. Chloe had only mentioned it casually and never expected such a dramatic reaction. When I stayed in the bathroom, she called out, sounding confused, "What is wrong? Aren't you eating?" I sheepishly walked back out. "Maybe it is from staying up late writing recently." "A few dark circles do not matter," she replied. "You're still very handsome." Hearing her compliment me so suddenly made my cheeks burn with embarrassment. After we finished eating, I got up to clear the table, but Chloe stopped me. "I will wash them today." No, I've got it." I grabbed the plates from her hands and headed to the kitchen. Chloe smiled, shook her head, and let me do it. Passing the living room, she noticed my laptop on the coffee table with an open document. On a whim, she peeked at my writing. When I finished cleaning up and walked out, I froze. Chloe was sitting gracefully on the couch, chin in hand, reading my novel with deep focus. "Don't read that." I lunged forward, desperately worried she would find it weird. "Why can't I read it? It's not very good." "All right, I'll stop." While I was wondering if I had overreacted, she paused at her bedroom door and turned. "I think it is unrealistic for a female lead to abandon her business just to hang out with the guy. If she is a CEO, she would never have that much free time." With that, she went inside and closed the door. I sat there completely stunned. The great heiress had actually read at least 2 chapters, and the cheesiest ones at that. I wasn't even mad that she criticized my work. Had been criticized. I just wanted to explain that in romance novels, feelings come before facts. If I wrote a realistic CEO story, it would be full of plot holes and lose readers. But she clearly didn't understand web novels, and I couldn't really explain it to her. A few days later, early in the morning, Chloe had just finished breakfast and was still home when someone knocked on the door. Having just finished the dishes, I went to open it. "Who is it?" I wondered who could be visiting so early. The person outside didn't answer and knocked again. I peeked through the peephole and saw two young women. Both were incredibly stunning and carried themselves like movie stars. They were clearly not ordinary people. My heart raced. I turned and knocked on Chloe's bedroom door. "Someone is here. I think they're looking for you." Chloe let go of her mouse and walked out. She saw the worrying on my face. "There are two women outside. See if they're looking for you. I've never seen them before." Secretly, I was terrified they were here to cause trouble for Chloe. My mind raced, trying to figure out what to do. Outside the door, Olivia stopped knocking and turned to Maya. "Are you sure we have the right place? Is Chloe really living here? Why isn't anyone opening up?" "I thought she was still married to that Evans guy. Is he out too? How should I know?" "I told you not to come. Chloe is busy, and she's not the one in trouble." "But I had to come. I haven't seen her in a whole year. With all her recent bad luck, I need to see her myself." She pouted and started banging on the door again. Suddenly, the door swung open. "What are you two doing here? Come on in. Chloe, I missed you so much." Olivia squealed, rushing forward to hug Chloe tightly before finally letting go. "You're finally back. Good." It was obvious that Olivia only cared about Chloe. The rest of us were just extras. "Come inside." I watched from behind, totally dumbfounded. "Sister, could these two be her close friends?" Olivia walked in happily, then froze when she saw my bewildered face. She pointed a finger at me, clearly shocked. "Why is there a man here? Wait, you're Ethan." "What are you doing here?" Chloe frowned. "Why shouldn't he be here? We're married. If we don't live together, are we supposed to sleep on the street? Why do you have to ask so many questions?" Maya added, "They aren't divorced, so of course they live together. Let's go in and sit down." Olivia scoffed, refusing to look at me, and walked straight to the sofa. Maya gave me a polite nod before sitting down as well. Since we had guests here, I went to make some tea. When I returned, the three women were sitting in silence. Her two friends just stared at Chloe, making the atmosphere incredibly awkward. I wished I could disappear. "I have some errands to run, so I'll leave you all to catch up. I won't be back for lunch." I quickly retreated to my room, grabbed my jacket and keys, and rushed out. Ever since Chloe spoke, Olivia had been staring at her in complete disbelief. The moment I closed the door behind me, she sighed with an indescribable look. "Home for lunch, Chloe? Are you actually calling this place your home?" That question caught Chloe off guard, making her pause before she quickly recovered. "I've been eating here lately. His cooking is pretty good." "Chloe, are you really planning on staying with him? Besides his looks, he has nothing to offer, and it's not like we lack attractive men. I know you wouldn't fall for someone just for appearances. If you were going to, you would have done it years ago, but this is too much. In all these years, I have never seen a better-looking guy of his type. Besides, people change. You did not know him before going abroad, and you have not even talked to him since you got back. What gives you the right to judge him? Do you think Chloe is a fool? There must be a reason she tolerates Ethan. Don't forget, to the outside world, our Chloe is penniless right now. Isn't it weird that this Ethan guy is still sticking around under these circumstances?" When Maya helped Chloe with the background check, she looked into it deeply. The conclusion she reached was it was highly unusual. She figured Chloe kept him around to keep an eye on him. After all, it is easier to dodge an open attack than a hidden one. But before Olivia could even nod, it is not as complicated as you think. He has changed, and he is doing fine now. He lives here because he has nowhere else to go. Lately, he is earning his own money by cooking. He has gone back to his pre-college lifestyle. But why will he not divorce you? Getting a divorce and starting over are two separate things, right? Why must he stay by your side? There are other reasons for that which you do not need to know. Just be polite to him. He is not as bad as you think. Olivia wanted to ask more, but Maya cut her off. Chloe has her own plans. We do not need to worry. Since Ethan is not who we thought, we will just be polite to him. Olivia, I am not trying to lecture you, but I know you are close to Chloe. Still, do you have to get so worked up every time it is about her? Do not be like Scarlett, or you will end up just as scatterbrained. I am not like her. How could I be like that little fool? Well, you are getting pretty close. Remember, we told Scarlett not to go looking for Chloe at the gala, but she could not help herself and almost caused trouble. You two are two peas in a pod. I am not. I just got back, so I do not know the situation. Plus, you never let her explain things clearly. You always speak in riddles. It is a miracle I have not died of anxiety, and it is only because I am patient. Olivia glared at Maya, who just responded with a soft chuckle. Let us not talk about this. Olivia, are you planning to join the family business now that you are back? I do not want to, but my dad is forcing me. You know I have zero interest in the auto industry. It is so annoying. You might not be interested, but you have a real talent for it. You spotted problems in your dad's car designs back in high school. Did you think he would let you go? He probably wakes up laughing from his dreams, thinking about how he raised a daughter born to serve the family business. Give me a break. If I had known my dad was that cunning, I would never have fallen for his trap. My short taste of freedom is ending, and my little food business is about to be taken over by my dad. It is so frustrating. That old man never showed his foodie side. To think he could hide it for so many years is terrifying. Still, having an elder guide you is a blessing in disguise. Your father has put so much thought into your future, you should cherish it. I guess I just was not born with Chloe's love for classical culture. All tea tastes exactly the same to me, so I just chug it down for the satisfaction. Isn't that perfect? You are right. Just do it for the satisfaction. That is great. Olivia did not mind being laughed at all. So what if she did not have a refined palate? It was no big deal. She knew she was not as elegant as Chloe anyway. By the way, Chloe, what is your plan? I refuse to believe Julian is really that good. How can anyone be so prescient, always staying one step ahead? Chloe, are you absolutely sure there is no mole? The soft smile on Chloe's face vanished instantly. She thought for a moment. I am not sure where the issue lies. Even when I keep my plans entirely to myself, they still get leaked. A simple mole cannot explain that. Hearing this, Olivia and Maya listened closely. Should I sweep your things again? Maybe there is some advanced surveillance tech we missed before. I do not think so. I tried moving to a new place with nothing, not even my own clothes, but things did not improve. Does he actually have some special ability? Even our other sisters could not do a thing. No, we tried to corner him together, but whether it was a trap or a direct confrontation, he escaped. Somehow, he got connected to the Vance family, and old Mr. Vance himself stepped. How is that possible? I thought he stopped interfering with the younger generation long ago. That Julian is just so disgusting. If he wants to fight, fine, but calling for backup. Is this some schoolyard game? Why on earth would old Mr. Vance help him out? I have never heard of him being charitable. I heard it was actually his wife. She happened to save old Mr. Vance and really hit it off with him. But why is he so obsessed with Chloe? She owns so many businesses. Even if he focuses on building his construction firm, it does not conflict with her other businesses. Seeing her friends looking so worried, Chloe suddenly smiled. All right, isn't this much better? Do not worry, you two. Now that I am penniless, I can finally see what he is really after. Only by losing everything could she find out if he was targeting her personally, or just trying to seize her businesses for his own gain. So, Chloe, do you plan to focus solely on your tech startup now? It is a massive investment with slow returns. Any profits? The tech industry is the future. I have wanted to restructure and upgrade my businesses for a long time. Before, I had to deal with those leeches in my family. Now that I am free of that burden, it is much easier. That is good, like shedding a heavy weight, but you still suffered a huge loss. Once I take over my family business, I will help you go after him. I refuse to believe he can predict our every move. Do not cause trouble. It will take you time just to learn the ropes of your family business. By then, Chloe will have already made her comeback. Just focus on your own affairs. Chloe is far more capable than you, and worst case, she still has us. I have been working for so many years, it is nice to finally get a break. What is the rush, Chloe? How can you not be anxious? When has Chloe ever been anxious? True, now that you mention it, I have never seen her flustered. All right, Chloe, if you need anything, just call. I will be there in a heartbeat. The three of them chatted a bit longer before leaving. When I returned in the afternoon, the apartment was empty, and I breathed a massive sigh of relief. That rich heiress's friends were incredibly intimidating, each worse than the last. They made their deep dislike of me crystal clear, pushing my limits. I had claimed to have plans, but in reality, I had nothing. It was just an excuse to get out. With nowhere else to go, I ended up writing at an internet cafe. The beautiful woman playing games next to me kept turning to stare, losing one match after another. When she finally looked ready to strike up a conversation, I swapped computers. But then, the girl next to my new desk also started trying to chat. She asked why I was writing there, as if trying to soak up some of my positive energy. It was highly annoying. Back home, I could finally relax, so I changed clothes, stretched out luxuriously, and collapsed right onto the sofa. Feeling like a quick shower, I checked Chloe's text on my phone. She confirmed she would be back extremely late, so I made a beeline for the bathroom. After a wonderfully relaxing hot shower, I dried my hair, made some lemon tea, and grabbed the snacks I bought earlier. I settled happily onto the sofa, but hesitated for a quick second. I decided to put off my writing for a bit. Opening my laptop, I pulled up a movie I wanted to watch and started it. As it played, I nibbled on snacks and sipped my tea. There is nothing better in life than having absolutely nothing to do, feeling completely clean, and watching a show with great snacks. This was honestly the first time I felt truly content since arriving in this strange world. As the movie reached its climax, I was totally hooked, forgetting my surroundings entirely. But just as a door burst open on screen, the sharp creak of a real door opening echoed through the room. The sound effects crew should lose their lunch. That door creak was totally off. Did you not eat lunch? Chloe's voice suddenly came from the entryway. I jumped, and the chips slipped from my hand onto my crossed legs. Looking up, I saw Chloe standing there, frowning. She stood tall, elegant, her head tilted slightly as she stared down at me. No, more accurately, she was glaring at my empty hands. To her, I probably looked like a startled little animal staring back with wide, dazed eyes, completely frozen in place, like a confused koala. Aren't you supposed to be back late tonight? I finally managed to find my voice, though my burning embarrassment was impossible to hide. My words sounded almost accusatory. Chloe slid into her slippers and walked in, looking away. I came back early. Olivia wanted to show me her company, she explained, but her father suddenly called her back. We can always go another time, the company isn't going anywhere. A day or two won't hurt. By the way, did you skip lunch? I pinched the edge of the chip bag, subtly sliding it out of sight with a forced smile. I ate, really. Just got bored watching a movie and grabbed a snack. I shoved the bag under the table and kicked it into the trash. The memories of this body told me she never touched junk food, making me feel incredibly awkward eating it. That's just junk. You should eat less of it. Right, only a rare treat. Are you eating at home tonight? At the mention of the word home, her expression softened slightly. She nodded. I had already picked out my takeout order, but now I had to cook. The movie was ruined, my fresh shower felt wasted, and all my lazy afternoon joy vanished. What's wrong with you? Chloe asked, pouring herself some water. She tilted her head, noticing my utterly pitiful face. Usually, I'd be excitedly asking what she wanted to eat. It is nothing. What do you want for dinner tonight? Anything is fine, you decide. Then I will make some hot meatball soup. I have leftover pulp from making soy milk this morning. I was going to fry them tonight and make soup tomorrow, but since you are back, I will make it now. Okay, I will get some work done. Go ahead. I will call you when it is ready. Once she left, I caught my reflection in the computer screen. Only then did I realize, in my rush to hide the chips, I had completely forgotten to comb my messy hair. No wonder the great heiress had been giving me such bizarre looks. I scrambled off the couch, dashed to the bathroom, and started brushing it like a madman. I was kicking myself. Why did I let myself look so sloppy? Did I forget about Murphy's Law? I had just made a total fool of myself right in front of her. Remembering how elegant she looked, I wanted to smash my face against the mirror. I rarely care about my looks, but around her, things are different. Chloe just has that effect. Standing next to her without looking your absolute best makes you feel like utter trash. Honestly, I suspect that is why so many people dislike her. She hangs out with the wealthy elite. Those rich heirs grew up feeling superior to everyone, but then she shows up, and simply by existing, makes them all feel inferior. Who wouldn't be annoyed by that? The guy before me never even dreamed of winning her over because he had zero courage. Now, I had to cook for this walking goddess, stay strong, ignore her intense charm, and eat with her face to face. Frying meatballs always leaves you smelling like a grease fire, though. I watched the pot intently, my hands working fast as I shaped the meatballs and dropped them into the bubbling oil. Soon, a rich, savory aroma drifted through the entire apartment. An hour later, Chloe finally stepped out of her room. The instant her door opened, the scent of fried food hit her. Following the sound, she found me working away. I was completely focused, my movements quick and practiced as I hummed a random tune, totally in my own zone. Golden brown meatballs were coming out of the oil one by one. One little cutie finished, and a whole bunch more waiting to join the party. Yes, you are adorable little meatballs, and you will taste incredible. Soon, I will turn you into delicious soup, I mumbled. I was probably the only person she had ever seen make cooking look so entertaining. Amused, she crossed her arms and leaned against the doorframe to watch. I did not disappoint her. With only a few meatballs left, I scooped them out, turned to chop the fresh vegetables, and kept right on muttering to my food, "You little cuties, too. It must be exhausting being this beautiful. I promise to let you float gracefully in the hot broth. Your lives will not be in vain." I was happily lost in my own world, planning the next chapter of my novel, when I turned and saw her standing right there. I jumped back in sheer panic, my foot slipping on the floor. I started to tumble backward, surprised. Chloe instantly lunged forward to catch me, but before she could reach out, I had already grabbed the edge of the kitchen sink to steady myself. Her hand brushed my waist, and that sudden warmth felt like a shockwave right down my spine. "Why did you sneak up like that? You scared me to death. Do you need something?" "No, I just wanted water, but I heard you talking to yourself." "I was just humming. Cooking gets a bit tedious, you know." "I see. Are those meatballs done?" "Yeah. By the way, do you want to try one?" Chloe hesitated briefly. "Oh, wait, I forgot. These are delicious, but not exactly healthy. If you are not hungry, maybe you should wait." Unhealthy. Even if she was no nutritionist, she knew they were just a little oily, not toxic. She took a step closer to the plate. "How do I eat them?" I blanked out for a second, then realized she actually wanted a taste. I instinctively offered her my chopsticks. She took them, glanced down, and realized I had just used them. She paused. "What is wrong?" "Nothing." She handed them back, leaving me utterly confused as she simply pinched a hot meatball with her fingers and popped it straight into her mouth. The fresh meatball was still steaming hot as she bit in, filling her mouth with rich, savory flavors. Chloe quickly gasped in a breath of cold air to cool it down, but she clearly loved it. Standing right there beside me, she happily swallowed it. Taking a small step back, she noticed me staring blankly. "What's wrong?" she asked, turning to face me. I jumped in surprise again, but this time I did not slip. My back hit the kitchen wall behind me. "Nothing. Are they good?" "Not bad. You should probably head out. It is smoky in here. The soup will only take a minute. Go relax, and I will call you when it is ready." I eventually finished the soup, but my happy mood was completely ruined. Chloe definitely noticed I was quiet as I served her a bowl. Her bowl was packed, mine was mostly broth. "You fried so many, why is yours so empty? Is that not enough for you?" I looked at her overflowing bowl. Given her tiny appetite, was she starving today? She pointed a slender finger at my dish. "Look at your bowl." "Oh, I was cooking too long, lost my appetite." I would never admit that I had weighed myself earlier and realized I gained 2 pounds. She did not say anything, but she definitely saw me staring longingly at her food, my eyes screaming for a bite. Knowing my habit of stepping on the scale before eating, she quickly put it together. "You ate too many snacks today," she stated flatly. I felt a knife twist in my gut. "No, I didn't." Chloe just stared. "Fine. I had a little Jell-O and some cookies, a small bag of popcorn and half a bag of chips." Saying it out loud, it did sound like a lot, but they didn't even weigh 2 pounds. Besides, snacks are packed with additives, you should eat less. If you are craving something, we can go out to eat. I will find the money. I never expected her to say that. My rising anger vanished in an instant. Though her face remained calm, her worrying was genuine. The great heiress was actually a good person, just trying to give me well-meaning advice. I nodded. "I know. I will try to cut back on snacks." Chloe stayed quiet while I finished my meal. After washing the dishes, I sat down to write like usual. But this time, instead of ignoring me, she came out of her room and sat right next to me. I talked to my friends today, she said. They won't treat you like that anymore. I cleared up their misunderstandings, so if they visit, you do not need to hide from them. You mean your best friends? Chloe nodded. It is fine, really. It does not matter what they think. They are your friends, not mine. I do not mind. Besides, it makes sense they do not like me. I am not their type of person. Let us just keep our distance. It is easier for you to talk when I am not around. And I actually had things to do today. All right, she said. Are you writing your novel? Yes. Did you finish your movie? I have a bit left. I will finish it later. If you do not want me to hear, use headphones. I quietly pulled my hand back from my cup and forced a stiff smile. Why would I mind? Are you really that sensitive with all your vast knowledge? She did not answer. Instead, she handed me my cup. If you want to write a great novel, just watching movies is not enough. You have to analyze them. I do not mind the noise. Watch whatever you want. Okay, I know, I said. Chloe walked back to her room. I took a sip of water, but I did not restart the movie. Over the next few days, Chloe kept leaving early and returning late. We settled into a quiet routine of eating breakfast and dinner together, then going our separate ways during the day. One afternoon, Chloe came home early. I was writing and did not even look up when the door opened, just saying out of habit, "You are back." A child's voice answered, sounding shocked. The pure disdain was obvious. "What is he doing here? Aren't you divorced yet?" It was the son of Chloe's cousin. Both of his parents had tragically passed away in an accident. Since they were close, Chloe adopted him. His name was Leo. At 8 years old, he had always despised the original owner of this body. It was not that the kid was just the original me had never liked kids. Ever since Leo arrived, he had never shown him any warmth. That was bad enough, but one incident made things much worse. Once, when Leo was home and starving because the chef was sick, the original me was rushing to meet fake friends. Without checking, he ordered incredibly spicy food for the child. The poor kid got incredibly sick for days. Because of that, Chloe slashed my allowance, and our mutual dislike grew. But since I transmigrated, I have actually grown quite fond of kids. But little Leo definitely did not feel the same. His words made that clear. "We are not divorced," Chloe said, "so he stays. In fact, you will be living with him from now on. And he will be cooking your meals." "What, Aunt Chloe, you are joking, right?" Usually, when Leo showed his hatred toward me, Chloe never stepped in to stop him. As long as it was not too extreme, she stayed out of it. "Why the change? Aunt Chloe, is it true? Are you bankrupt? Is that why we have to live with this man?" I stayed quiet, curious to see how she would react. Chloe calmly tapped Leo on the forehead. "Kids need to watch their mouths. Do not think you can say whatever you want, just because you are a child. Yes, I am broke, so you do not have a choice." Leo stared, eyes wide, before shaking his head in total disbelief. "Impossible, my dad always said you were the smartest person. Aunt Chloe, how could someone like you go bankrupt? Your business was huge, how did it all just vanish? Oh my God, I am not even grown up yet, how am I supposed to support us? I am just a kid, and now I have to carry this heavy burden. What am I supposed to do? I am only in the 3rd grade. Maybe you can sign me up as a child model. I know how to walk the runway, and I am handsome. Someone will hire me." "That is impossible, because you have no connections. How do you think average kids become models? It is about family ties, not looks. And we do not have those anymore." "You are lying. You know so many people you helped before. Just ask them, then you need to learn this. People love celebrating your success, but they run from your struggle. Never expect help just because you helped someone. You are lucky if they do not kick you while you are down." Chloe followed him toward the bathroom, her voice echoing. "What do we do then? Are we living here forever? No more good food or nice clothes. The kids at school said I would have to transfer. Is that really true?" "Yes, you will live here with me during breaks. We will not have the luxury we used to." "As for transferring schools, is that what you want?" "Yes, my classmates are laughing at me. They think I cannot hear them, but I know." "You are not transferring yet. This semester is already paid for." Chloe walked back out and sat down. I had been pretending to write, but I could not ignore them anymore. I silently set some oranges on the table in front of them. We do not have other fruit right now. This will have to do, but they say I am annoying. When you lose status, people talk. Even when you are successful and at the top, people will still whisper behind your back. In fact, it gets even worse. If you are strong, they will just hide their insults. By the way, you haven't greeted him yet, she said, peeling the fruit for Leo. As he reached for it, she gestured toward me. Leo turned his gaze to meet mine. He opened his mouth, paused, then hesitated before speaking. What should I call him? He asked. Why don't you just call me Ethan? Okay, Ethan. Since you are on break, what do you want to eat? I will cook. Why didn't you before? He asked with wide, innocent eyes. The question hit hard. We had a chef back then. Rice and some simple stir-fried dishes are fine. Stir-fry a few dishes, but I put in extra effort this time, making the food look fun and kid-friendly. I have always liked children, so I wanted him to enjoy it. I used to play with my friends' kids all the time. The moment I saw Leo, I really liked the little guy. If things had not been so tense between us, I probably would have hugged him. Chloe took him to his room. When dinner was ready, I called them out. Leo had washed up, put on his pajamas, and was waiting at the table. He looked at the table, completely stunned. You made this? He asked, pointing at the dishes. I had arranged the food to look like cartoon characters. Even the rice had a little smiley face on it. Of course, this was just for him. Chloe and I ate normal meals, while he got his own special plate. Special treatment for your first day of break. I will get you smaller utensils tomorrow. You do not need to make special food. I am not a baby anymore, and I do not need coddling. I eat normal food at school. I am in the 3rd grade. Even in college, you are still a kid to us. Besides, I decide this is what I am cooking, and your only choice is to eat it or starve. If you skip this, your least favorite food is on the menu next. We are broke, kid, so do not expect any allowance if you do not eat. Forget about buying snacks, you will just go hungry. Now, what do you say when someone does something nice for you? Leo pressed his lips together and mumbled, Thank you, Ethan. I could not help ruffling his hair. You are welcome. The kid clearly loved it but pretended he did not. What a tsundere, but his proud act was adorable. Chloe told me I did not need to make him separate meals anymore. Since Sterling kids are not picky, Leo nodded eagerly, agreeing completely while protectively covering his head. I laughed and said, if he is not picky, that is on him, but spoiling him is on me. It is an adult's job to spoil a kid. Can he not handle a little pampering? Will this really ruin him? Leo chimed in, saying a little food could never spoil him. I chuckled, well then, I will have to trouble you to accept my sugar-coated treats. I have a soft spot for cute kids. With him here, I can try cooking kid-friendly meals. Chloe said, thanks for your help. I smiled, you are welcome. Chloe watched our little interaction and did not object to the kid-friendly meals. The 3 of us dug in, and I noticed Leo was eating much faster than usual. It was a clear sign that he loved the food. When we finished, I went to wash the dishes. Leo left totally surprised and asked, you do chores too? It seems we really are broke. I shrug, it cannot be helped. Life is full of sudden ups and downs. You need to study hard so you can always afford food. Leo bragged, I am first in my grade, and my school is one of the very best in the country. I entered a competition this semester, and my teacher said I could win. First place comes with a massive cash prize of $50,000. If I win, we will have plenty of money for food. Rich kids really have it good, attending elite private schools where even the prize money for elementary competitions is that high. Leo continued, I can enter more contests now. Before, Aunt Chloe would not let me because she feared it would affect my grades, but now, I should. If I enter 4 events, I could win $200,000, and we will eat well. No, hold on, I do not have that much free time. To keep my top grades, I can only do 3. That is only $150,000. That is barely enough for food. $150,000. Do you know how many people make less than $10,000 a month? $150,000 is huge, Leo mumbled. That only buys 2 watches. Is that a lot? You used to spend a fortune on shark fin soup. What do other people making under $10,000 have to do with us? Should we live like them? He sighed. I never knew being broke was so terrifying. It turned a big spender into someone excited about $150,000. How long has Aunt Chloe been broke anyway? I told him, It is about adapting to your circumstances. When you have cash, spend it. When you do not, be frugal. Even if you made 150,000, we could not spend it all on meals. Since our living standard has dropped, our food quality must drop too. But do not worry, my home cooking won't leave you malnourished. Leo groaned. That is depressing. Just then, Chloe strode over with a glass of water in hand. Glancing at Leo, she told him to do his homework. Leo agreed, and with his back to Chloe, gave me a quick shush sign before leaving. Chloe then asked where he would sleep tonight. I said yes, and she promised to find us a new place soon. She had originally signed Leo up for summer camp, but the kid refused to go, which is why he ended up back here with us. I chose my words carefully. I asked her if she had looked into buying that apartment. She replied that she had sold more watches and designer clothes, so a down payment was definitely not an issue. She said she was still looking. Since Leo will spend his breaks here, I suggested getting a 3-bedroom place. I am earning book royalties now, so I can handle the mortgage without her worrying about money at all. I was worried the heiress would compromise on a cheaper place. With nothing left to say, we both returned to our work. Having a kid around suddenly made the house feel much more alive, especially since Leo was not shy. Chloe was busy working all day, leaving just Leo and me at home. Initially, we kept to ourselves, but eventually, the kid got bored and started chatting with me whenever he came out to stretch. He was just a child, and despite his maturity, he could not sit still forever. Once he realized I had genuinely changed and was nice to him, Leo warmed up to me, no longer acting so distant. One day he asked, "Why don't you divorce my aunt? She is totally broke, and if you stay, she will not give you a ton of cash like before." I replied, "You just said she used to spoil me, so shouldn't I stand by her now? If I left her during this crisis, wouldn't that make me a bad guy? Do you want me to leave her to handle you all alone? Then you would have no one to cook for you." Leo huffed, "That is not the point. I won't starve. I do not know what changed, but you are actually not that bad. I used to hate you. I thought you only knew how to shop, and that my aunt had married a human credit card machine. She had plenty of money back then, so it did not matter. It was just a shame she did not marry someone better. But now, you do not seem so awful. Before my parents passed, they taught me never to judge a book by its cover. We must look at a person's character. You might not be talented, but you do not run from problems, so your character is passable." I could not help ruffling his hair, saying he was too young to worry about these things. "Your only job is to study and play happily every day." Leo crossed his arms. "You do not need to worry about my studies. I told you, I am always first in class. Do not compare me to ordinary kids. I am in a high IQ club." I playfully pulled back the orange I was offering him, peeled a slice, popped it into my mouth, and watched him chew. "Did I ever mention that I also graduated from an elite university?" He gasped. "You, an elite university?" I smirked. "Yes, a top-tier school. There was a method to my madness when I played the gold-digging shopper, but I have cleaned up my act now, understand?" I offered him the orange again, only to yank it away as he reached, leaving him grabbing at thin air. "Are you going to give me that or not?" I laughed and finally handed it over. "Here, eat. How about wontons for lunch? I am getting hungry, so make a lot." "You got it, young master. I will fill you up." I saved my document and went to start cooking. Leo watched me walk to the kitchen, his eyes filled with a warmth he barely recognized. Ever since his parents passed away, he had not felt such cozy domesticity. Although Chloe was good to him and he wanted for nothing in her massive mansion, it never felt like a real home. His heart had never been at peace. Now, I interacted with him naturally every single day. When he spoke to me, it felt like chatting with real family. He could say whatever was on his mind and feel like he finally had a home. He realized why his aunt had warmed up to me. Chloe could also feel that Leo was getting increasingly comfortable around me as the days passed. Whenever she asked about his day, he would smile and say he had fun. One evening during dinner, I suggested, "I have some free time over the next few days, and since Leo has been cooped up inside for so long, let me take him to the amusement park tomorrow." Chloe paused, chopsticks in hand. She noticed Leo tense up in anticipation. She thought about it for a moment, realizing Leo had been home for 5 days without stepping outside. "Okay," she said, I will reschedule my work tomorrow. I opened my mouth to reply but stopped, feeling helpless. I had actually wanted to take Leo out by myself, but with the grand heiress inviting herself along, I could not say no. Leo, however, lit up instantly, unable to hide his pure joy. He beamed at us, saying, "Thank you, Ethan, and thank you, Aunt Chloe. But if you are busy, Aunt Chloe, Ethan and I can go alone." I chuckled, realizing I had forgotten how weekend amusement parks are always packed. I never visited one in my past life, but seeing how well-behaved Leo was cooped up at home and reading a novel set in a theme park made me want to take him there. I kept thinking about how his parents died when he was only 6, and since Chloe probably wouldn't think to take him to a place like that, I couldn't help but feel a deep wave of sympathy for the little guy. The next morning, Leo woke up incredibly early. He opened his eyes and glanced outside, seeing that the sky was still dark. Then, he checked the small alarm clock sitting on his nightstand. It wasn't even 6 a.m. Chloe normally got up at 6 to wake him, so he lay perfectly still, terrified of making a sound. Honestly, he felt that living in this cozy place was far better. Better than having his own massive bedroom in the family mansion. This was the first time he actually felt close to Chloe. He really liked her, but there had always been a cold distance between them before. Living this new life, he sometimes imagined he was still with his parents, a sweet illusion he secretly loved. "You're awake," a voice murmured. Leo jumped, turning to find Chloe already sitting up, staring right at him. Though her face was blank, she had a sleepy, relaxed look that made her seem much softer than usual. "Yeah, just woke up," he mumbled, quickly jumping out of bed to grab his clothes. He began getting dressed, and Chloe didn't move to help. Sterling kids learned independence early. Leaving the bedroom, they both instinctively tiptoed down the hall to the bathroom to wash up. Looking in the mirror, the gorgeous aunt and nephew brushed their teeth side by side, their resemblance striking. "Aunt Chloe, should we wake up Ethan?" Leo asked around his toothbrush. "No need," she replied. "He'll get up on his own. I normally woke up at 6 to make breakfast, so they usually retreated to their room. But today," Leo whispered, "Aunt Chloe, Ethan works so hard cooking for us every day. Don't you agree?" Chloe paused, then sighed. "Fine. I guess we're not so broke that we can't afford to eat out occasionally. Ethan doesn't need to cook every single day. Cooking is his life anyway." Before Leo could even ponder that, Chloe grabbed him by the collar and hauled him back to the bedroom to read. Just as they went inside, I stepped out of mine and padded over. I pulled open all the curtains, smiling at the bright, sunny sky outside, and stretched. Since I usually prep our breakfast ingredients the night before, there really wasn't much left for me to do. Half an hour later, I called them out for breakfast. Once we finished eating, we got ready to head out. But Leo looked at his small backpack, then at my massive one, completely puzzled. "Why are we wearing backpacks? Did you forget we're broke?" I teased. "Theme park food is ridiculously expensive. It's literally the exact same stuff inside, so obviously it's much cheaper to buy it outside and smuggle it in. Don't worry, yours is only filled with light snacks, so it won't be heavy." He frowned. "But park snacks can't be that expensive, right? There has to be some limit to how much they can mark up the prices. It's just snacks. How much could it possibly be?" I unzipped his bag and pulled out a pack of cookies. "I bought these at the supermarket for $10. See how much they charge inside." "Fine, I'll check," he grumbled, but obediently turned around so I could stuff the treats back inside. With that, our little trio officially set off, and Chloe took the wheel to drive us there. To pass the time during the drive, I decided to tell Leo a story. Obviously, I couldn't share my own mature work with a third grader, so I figured a classic fairy tale would be perfect. I settled on Cinderella. The whole tale took less than 10 minutes to tell. Leo listened with intense seriousness, before delivering a highly supportive critique. "Ethan, your enunciation is actually quite good." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Were you actually listening to the plot?" "Look, I know it's a classic you've probably seen before, but revisiting old tales can often lead to completely new discoveries. You should have gotten something fresh out of it." "You're right, but I've analyzed this tale so many times already. The girls in my class are deeply moved by the romance, but my aunt's guidance opened my eyes. Even as Cinderella, she was still a count's daughter, making her a suitable match for the prince. Ultimately, it's just a love story about two high-status people overcoming minor speed bumps to marry. I chuckled at his maturity. All right, let me ask you this. If you were Cinderella living in that household, what would you do? Would you quietly endure the abuse, try telling your father, or fight back? Telling my dad wouldn't work, Leo reasoned. If he actually cared about her, she wouldn't have been neglected for so long. Fighting back directly is also incredibly risky, as it ruins her reputation. If she's too obvious, she gets labeled as disrespectful and will never find a husband. Running away isn't an option either. A runaway girl is completely ruined and unmarriageable, so her only choice is to endure. You're young, but your thinking is incredibly clear, I remarked. So, in your opinion, poor Cinderella's miserable fate was completely sealed, and there was absolutely nothing she could do. Of course not, it seems like enduring is the only path, but there's actually plenty she could do. Take reputation, for example. Disrespecting elders is bad, but abusing a stepdaughter is also wrong. The stepmother has two of her own daughters to worry about. If her own reputation is ruined because of her cruelty, those daughters won't be able to find good husbands either. From the driver's seat, Chloe glanced at us in the rearview mirror, giving a subtle nod of approval at Leo's logic. I, on the other hand, was completely blown away by the 8-year-old's mind. As Leo logically explained the rest of his brilliant strategy, I just scratched my head in disbelief. Soon, our car pulled into the parking lot, and Leo was the first to eagerly leap outside. His childish excitement was impossible to contain. I hopped out, grabbed his hand, and warned him, "It's packed today. Plus, you're super adorable, exactly the kind of kid kidnappers actively look for. So hold my hand or your aunt's, and stay close to us at all times. If anything feels off, call out immediately." "Got it, don't worry, Ethan, I'm not stupid. I'll stick right next to you and Aunt Chloe. Kids aren't as strong as adults anyway. Our teacher said if someone grabs you, fighting back is useless, so I definitely won't run off." Hearing him say that let Chloe and me relax a little. When we arrived at the main gate, we completely skipped the massive ticket queue because I'd already bought our tickets online in advance. Once inside the gates, the park was absolutely buzzing with people. Since Chloe and I are both quite good-looking, we naturally draw attention, and we immediately started turning a lot of heads. A few people looked ready to approach us, but they hesitated when they noticed we were each holding hands with little Leo. Nearby, a group whispered, "Look at that gorgeous young couple with the kid over there." At first glance, I honestly thought they were celebrities. Too bad they're taken, or I'd try my luck. Do all handsome men really end up with gorgeous women? It's so depressing. Average women like me have zero chance. Are you guys seriously still whining about that? All I can think is how adorable and well-behaved their little boy looks. I hope I have one like him. Girl, wake up, neither you nor your husband are head-turners, so how do you expect to produce a gorgeous kid? Overhearing their blunt conversation made me desperately want to burst out laughing. Too bad Leo wasn't actually my son, or I'd be beaming with pride. "Ethan, what should we ride first?" he asked. "Whatever you want, bud. Personally, the roller coaster and bumper cars sound fun. Are you up for those?" Since I had never been to a theme park myself, I only knew about the basic rides. Leo hesitated, stared at the massive roller coaster, and made up his mind. Roller coaster first, then bumper cars it is. The line was packed with families and young couples. Without waiting for Chloe to say anything, I quickly stepped into the back of the queue. I waved back to Chloe and Leo, "I'll hold our spot here. If you get tired, go ahead and rest on the bench over there." Suddenly, the glances from people around us shifted dramatically. A woman nearby looked green with envy, whispering to her boyfriend, "A guy that handsome actually waits in line while his family rests." "I'm so jealous," he snapped. "What, you have a problem with me?" "Sure, you see that handsome guy waiting in line, but look at his gorgeous wife. She is dripping in designer brands. That outfit alone must be worth $50,000. If you had that kind of cash, you could hire someone to stand in line for you. That guy must be clueless or have zero power at home. With his looks, I would never settle for a woman who treats me like that." The guy accidentally blurted out his thoughts, earning a sharp kick to the shin from his girlfriend. "What did you just say? I dare you to say that again." No, I was just kidding, it was a joke. You have such an amazing character, you would never do something so trashy." Leo tugged on Chloe's sleeve. He had heard everything, and knew his aunt did too. Is it really okay to make Ethan stand in line? Didn't your teacher ever tell you about gender equality? He will wait for this ride, but for the next ones, we'll all take turns, including you. Leo breathed a sigh of relief. So they weren't just exploiting my labor. He used to dislike the old me, which was true, but his opinion of me had shifted. The old Ethan wouldn't have cared how Chloe treated him, but the current Ethan was so much better. A few women, some married and some not, somehow managed to steer their conversation to a completely unrelated topic. Leo didn't want to listen to their nonsense anymore, so he pulled Chloe to a nearby bench to sit down. Since I wasn't going to be the one waiting in line all day, there was no need to feel guilty. Everyone would have to take their turn later anyway. After a short wait, it was our turn. Leo, without a doubt, sat in the middle, with Chloe and me on either side. Even after we were seated on the roller coaster, people kept turning to stare at us, which made me feel a bit uncomfortable. But when I glanced over, the great heiress Chloe sat on the roller coaster like she was in her office, still radiating pure elegance, completely unfazed. Leo was totally ignoring the crowd, his big eyes blinking as he happily checked his safety harness. He even remembered to remind me, Ethan, double-check if your belt is tight, don't be careless. I've checked it once, it's fine, don't worry. After that, I looked at Chloe again. The great heiress sat there very calmly, as if none of this mattered to her. I suddenly became very curious. On a ride as thrilling as a roller coaster, would the great heiress react like a normal person, or could she remain perfectly composed even then? I had to watch closely. With that thought in mind, I kept a part of my focus on Chloe from the start. At first, the car crept slowly, gradually climbing the track. As we neared the highest point, my heart was in my mouth. The crucial part was about to begin. Just a second before the car reached the peak, Chloe finally deigned to unclasp her hands and grip the safety bar, but her expression remained unchanged. Her gaze was fixed straight ahead. The next second, the car plunged down from the peak, gaining speed rapidly. My tolerance was decent, so I was fine, and little Leo was pure excitement, not scared at all. Around us, screams of excitement and terror erupted, but Chloe, even with her hair whipped by the wind, only frowned slightly. She showed no other reaction, as if she weren't on a roller coaster at all. Feeling the fierce wind in my face and my body tossed around, I stared at the woman beside me, who stayed calm even as we were thrown about, and even upside down. I couldn't help but complain internally. The great heiress really could stay as calm as ever. What's the fun in riding a roller coaster like that? It wasn't long, only a few minutes at most. As the car slowed down, the screams around us faded, but the excited look on Leo's face hadn't faded at all. I watched Chloe, even with her hair a bit messy, her elegant aura was undeniable. Ethan, wasn't that awesome? I was a little scared last time, but this time I wasn't scared at all. I'm super brave. The moment his feet touched solid ground, Leo grabbed my arm and spoke excitedly. He almost stumbled taking a step, so I quickly steadied him, though I didn't dare move much myself. Yes, our Leo is very brave, not being afraid to ride a roller coaster at only 8 years old. You're much braver than me. I cried when I rode one in middle school, right after they built it in the park near my house. I was on a rare break, and my equally free parents took me to try it once. I didn't dare open my eyes the entire ride. Even after it was over, I plopped down and had a good cry. I was young and had never experienced anything so thrilling. It was a lot for a kid. You really were a scaredy cat then. I didn't even cry when I rode it before I was 6. Don't worry, next time you're scared, you can hold my hand. With me by your side, you won't have to be afraid. Okay then, thank you in advance, Leo. He was such a little angel. Those sweet words, paired with his adorable expression, just melted my heart. What should we ride next? Bumper cars? Yeah, bumper cars. Ethan wants to ride them. No, wait. When did I say I wanted to ride the bumper cars? I was just making a suggestion. If you didn't want to ride them, why did you suggest it? Adults can ride bumper cars too. No, I really didn't want to them. I only suggested it because I couldn't think of any other rides off the top of my head. I've never been to an amusement park before. Before I could explain, Chloe had already taken Leo's other hand and started walking. Leo's movement pulled me forward along with them. The two of them clearly didn't believe me, giving me no chance to explain. Honestly, If I tried to seriously explain that I didn't want to, the bumper cars, would they think I was just trying to save face? I thought about it for 2 minutes and came to a definite conclusion. It seemed I was riding those bumper cars today, whether I wanted to or not. There were no fewer than for the roller coaster, so Chloe had Leo wait in line. The little guy stood there, attracting a crowd of adoring gazes. A little girl nearby had been crying inconsolably, and her father couldn't calm her down. But the moment she saw Leo, her crying stopped instantly. She struggled out of her father's arms and darted over to Leo's side. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the little girl shamelessly took Leo's hand, blinked her big eyes, and said adorably, "Hey, let's play together." The girl was about 5 years old, barely reaching Leo's shoulder. There, don't cry. We're all here to ride the bumper cars, right? So of course we can play together later. There are lots of cars, okay? We'll play together. Daddy, Mommy, I want to play with him, I like him. All right then, Daddy will wait in line for you. I watched as the girl held onto Leo, chattering away. Leo had a soothing smile on his face, occasionally responding or nodding in agreement. The two kids seemed to be having a great time. He already knows how to charm girls at this age. What will he be like when he grows up? That little girl is very cute. No, it's just that Leo is polite. Didn't you hear how boring her conversation was? Something about her doll having big eyes and her parents taking her to a movie. Some of it was completely illogical. Only our Leo would have the patience to chat with her, like he's humoring a child. Boys aren't into that stuff. Yes, humoring a girl. Less than 2 minutes later, a slightly chubby boy approached Leo and the girl, trying to join their conversation. The little girl turned her head in disdain, ignoring him and only talking to Leo. Leo nodded at the boy but went right back to the girl, making no effort to include him. Sensing he wasn't welcome, the boy dejectedly returned to his parents. All right, he was definitely charming her. When it was our turn, Leo gently sent the little girl back to her parents, then immediately grabbed Chloe and me, quickly got us registered and hopped into a car. From the way he drove, you couldn't tell he had any intention of waiting for the little girl to play. The best part about bumper cars is crashing into each other. My driving skills are average, but here, there was no need to be afraid. The whole point was to crash. Leo would occasionally bump other drivers. Seeing how gorgeous Chloe was, some people deliberately crashed into her, trying to strike up a conversation. Chloe, on the other hand, drove as if practicing, perfectly dodging every car around her, giving no one a chance to hit her. I watched and she realized they were targeting her. Chloe instantly started dodging every attack. Nobody could even graze her bumper. Instead, she sent them spinning. The mob then targeted Leo and me. Thankfully, Chloe created a distraction to lure them away. Once our time was up, I immediately steered my car toward the exit for the final head count and jumped out. No way was I ever riding that awful thing again. Leo was absolutely fuming, too. He grabbed me the second he stepped off and started complaining about how those people had no manners. They do not even know us, yet they just kept slamming into us. Crashing is fine, but they hit so hard my head hurts. I wanted to help you, but they rammed me off course, and then a crowd of other kids piled on, pushing me further and further away. It is so annoying. I told him it was not that bad. They probably did it because he is cute, just like that little girl earlier. She wanted to play, and those other kids probably did too. They bumped into you to be friendly because you are pretty handsome. You might look good, but your driving skills are honestly just terrible. My aunt managed to dodge the whole mob, and I think she even helped rescue you from getting surrounded. Recalling Chloe's incredible driving just now, Leo did not hesitate. He grabbed her hand with absolute admiration. "Aunt Chloe, you are the best. Can you teach me?" Everyone was trying to smash your car, but nobody could touch you. "Hey, thanks." She gave a casual nod, then told Leo bluntly, "You are too young and short. You cannot even reach the gas or brake pedals properly. Do not overthink it. Just focus on eating more and growing taller first. Some things in life are out of your control, like height." Leo instantly slumped. He was not even short for his class, but as a kid, how could he possibly compete with an adult? "It is fine. When you grow up, you will surely outshine your aunt. Do not worry. Just drink some milk before bed. I will prepare it for you every night. Drinking more milk helps you grow. Yeah, even if I cannot match an adult, I will at least be the tallest kid my age. So, what is next? I was starting to regret not checking out a guide before visiting. As I pondered, a little boy walking nearby with his parents began jumping with joy, shouting about the pirate ship. I instantly turned to Leo and asked if he wanted to go, too. Sure, I want to try everything, he cheered. I pulled out the map and noticed the pirate ship was just ahead. Let us head over, then. We arrived right as the last crowd got off and the next boarded. Excellent timing. However, our spot in line put us at the very back, meaning the swings would likely feel much more intense. Leo was still vibrating with energy, and Chloe looked completely serene. I, however, felt my anxiety rising. I had never ridden one, but on TV, the main characters always ended up throwing up everywhere. I might just be a background character here, but motion sickness does not care about that. Ethan, why are you squeezing my hand so hard? It actually hurts a bit. Oh, sorry. I am just really excited, I lied. Too embarrassed to confess my terror, I blamed my grip on enthusiasm. But when I let go, Leo's hand was flushed, leaving me feeling awful. Are you okay? Does it hurt? It is fine. I am good, he said. But you do not need to be that hyped. Switch seats with him, Chloe suddenly ordered. We both froze. Why? To keep the weight balanced. Leo and I looked where she pointed. We sat on the far left, while the right side had mostly adults. It really did look like our side was way too light. Oh, all right. Leo stood up to swap places. Now, I sat in the middle with Leo on my right and Chloe on my left. Right as my safety bar locked, Chloe grabbed my left hand, and Leo quickly grabbed my right. Holding hands with them, one big and one small, made me feel incredibly safe and cherished. Just then, the massive pirate ship began to swing higher and higher. Screams echoed all around us. Honestly, it was much better than I feared, exciting without being terrifying. I was probably not going to lose my lunch. I reassured myself that as a mere background character, I did not possess a fragile protagonist's stomach. The ship swung a bit more before slowly losing momentum. I felt Chloe's grip on my hand loosen. When we finally stopped, they both let go. Ethan, you were so brave. You did not cry or throw up. You are tough. A lot of adults are total scaredy cats, like her. Leo pointed at a lady near the trash can who was getting sick into a bag. See, she is miserable. I looked over and noticed that she was incredibly stunning. Even while unwell, she carried herself with grace, keeping her elegant vibe completely intact. Theme park workers rushed over to help. Then, the woman raised her head. I caught a quick glimpse of her face. She looked so familiar, but I simply could not place her. Do not point, and do not talk about strangers, Chloe scolded softly, pushing his hand down. Leo quickly pulled back and nodded. Never mind them, let us move on. We have been here for over 2 hours. Are you hungry or thirsty? I opened Leo's pack so he could grab a snack, then pulled a carton of milk from mine and handed it over. Thanks, Ethan. You and Aunt Chloe eat too. Munching snacks before a wealthy heiress, let alone offering her cheap junk food, felt terrifying. While I hesitated, Chloe snatched both bags right out of my hands. What do you want to eat? She asked. Though she was speaking to Leo, I was stunned. Since we were out having fun, I decided I might as well indulge. I pulled out cookies, chips, and a soda. I was craving terrible junk food, and I could not help it. Chloe stared at my choices but said nothing. Right as Leo was about to speak, she glared at him. That successfully killed the request for soda that was forming in his throat. As we ate, I realized Chloe had not touched a single snack. She was still hesitating. Do you want some? Snacks are not actually toxic. The additives are totally within safe limits, and since you never eat this stuff, a little bit is fine. It is not as dramatic as you think. You eat, Chloe said. She did not reject me rudely, but her point was clear. I kept eating, then offered, do you want some water? I then handed her a bottle. Next time, buy the other brand, okay, I sighed silently. Even though she was apparently broke, she still insisted on designer water. I had no clue what the difference was. Is a $10 bottle really better than a $2 one? It is literally all just water. After a quick break, Leo wanted to see a movie, so we headed to the theater. On the way, Leo talked constantly. Last time, we were going to watch a film, but my parents rushed off and we missed it. I really want to see if the animations here are different from normal theaters. I finally have my chance. My friends said the films here are better, so I am curious. How different could it actually be? It was all just marketing. The kid was bound to be let down, I sighed internally. The worst part of being too smart is that nothing surprises you because everything is entirely predictable. Leo loved it initially, but soon got bored. He started dragging us toward the exit. The second we stepped outside, he immediately began complaining that the cartoon was identical to normal ones. I was looking forward to it. It is a scam. My friend lied just to waste my time. He is so mean. I will get revenge at school. Do not say that. Maybe he actually liked it. To each his own, right? I was genuinely worried Leo would fight him, only to hear, "It is great when you watch with family," which would just hurt his feelings. Well, people with no taste enjoy anything, Leo scoffed. That comment earned him a light tap on the head from Chloe. Be polite. Play nice. It is rude to talk behind people's backs, okay? He rubbed his head, his smug look vanishing instantly, replaced by his usual adorable boyish charm. Still, his eyes seemed to be a little off. I asked what he was thinking. He sighed, saying that if his classmate loved a movie like that, the poor kid had not seen many good things. I was floored. In under 3 seconds, and with just a single tap from Chloe, the kid had instinctively learned how to throw shade. Was this really okay? I stiffly turned to look at Chloe, but she seemed completely oblivious. She patted Leo's head with a hint of praise. No, wait, was it really okay to raise a child like this? The kid clearly knew that saying this would make others look down on his classmate, leaving him totally unable to defend himself. He was doing this on purpose. Don't worry, Ethan. I'm a good kid who loves my classmates, he offered. I could only manage a weak smile. We were done with the rides, and glancing at the time, showed it was already past 11 a.m. It is almost noon. Should we get something to eat? I am not that hungry, but it is lunchtime. We cannot just live on snacks. I want McDonald's. I could understand other kids wanting that, but you used to eat gourmet food every day. Why would you like that stuff? I felt a little embarrassed. I put so much effort into cooking every day, yet the little guy still wanted to go to McDonald's. The great heiress wouldn't think I was just slacking off with my cooking when she wasn't home, would she? I just want to try it. The atmosphere there is different. Even if I eat gourmet food every day, it does not mean I cannot change things up once in a while. Aunt Chloe, just let me have it this once. It won't kill me. Eating junk food occasionally won't make me sick. Besides, just let me be happy today. Chloe just stood there, tall and poised. I thought Leo was a real daredevil. If it were me, I would never have the guts to grab someone like her and shake her arm. In the end, Chloe relented. She took Leo to McDonald's and even asked me if I wanted some or preferred eating something else. I'm fine with whatever. I haven't had McDonald's in forever. I did not really care. Actually, I was kind of craving it too. It was a good chance to indulge with Leo. Speaking of which, I had forgotten something we agreed on earlier. Leo, didn't you want to go check the prices of things here? Oh, right. He remembered our conversation from before we left. He immediately let go of our hands and ran toward a nearby shop. I quickly followed, not wanting to lose him in the crowd. When Leo came out of the shop, his face was a mask of shock and disbelief. The price of a drink can actually double. Oh my God, that's just not logical. It's not illogical, it has always been this way. Things at tourist attractions are even more expensive. For example, a roasted ear of corn that normally costs $4 can sell for $10 at a tourist spot. Why? Because it's a one-time business. Tourists leave and don't come back, and the people who buy food are often those who didn't bring any. When you're hungry, you don't really care about the price. It's not like you can't afford it, so you just buy it. And there's the cost. Oh right. And what your aunt said about cost. An ear of corn isn't expensive, and even roasting it doesn't cost much, but to sell it inside, you have to pay an extra fee to the park management. That cost is definitely passed on to the tourists, so the price is higher. Then the person who makes the most money must be the owner of the tourist attraction, right? All they have to do is build it, hire some people to manage it, and they can collect a lot of money. And if you add ticket fees from tourists, that's even more money. He was a sterling, after all, born and raised in a world of business. His quick thinking was truly impressive. I thought back to when I was Leo's age. I was probably just playing around without a care in the world. But you also have to think about how to get the government to approve the land for you, how to get enough money to build the attraction, then how to hire the right management staff and maintain the place. You have to think all of that through. It's a bit complicated, but that's okay. I'm still young. I'll definitely figure it out when I'm older. I'll find a way then. It's not that easy. I shook my head internally. The great heiress was just saying that to make Leo understand that things weren't so simple. When it actually comes time to do it, who knows how much trouble it will be. Even someone as capable as the great heiress had failed. Did she not understand those principles? It just goes to show that knowing how something works doesn't mean you can actually do it. There are too many external factors, and a lot of the time things are out of your control, like a protagonist's plot armor, something beyond normal comprehension. After we got home, everything went back to normal. I kept a regular schedule, waking up on time to cook, tidying up the house, and then starting to write. After lunch and cleaning up, I would take a nap. In the afternoon, I'd continue writing and do research to prepare for taking on design commissions. Later in the evening, I'd write after dinner, occasionally browsing other websites or watching a show to relax. Besides that, I set aside specific times for laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, and of course, regular exercise to stay in shape. If Leo needed it, I would also take the little guy out from time to time to places like the museum or the library to pass the time. Chloe was busy almost every day. I didn't know what she was busy with. She would only appear for breakfast and dinner, and at night she would check on what Leo had done all day. She never said anything about me taking Leo out, so I assumed she was okay with our current arrangement. But while peace and quiet were nice, there were still problems to be solved. So, one morning at breakfast, I brought up the topic of the apartment again. Leo looked at Chloe. He had been feeling quite constrained at night, afraid to move around too much while sleeping in the same room as her. He also hoped to have his own room so he could toss and turn as much as he wanted. I've already found a place we can move in next week. As for you buying an apartment, a seemingly good development is opening for sale the week after next. We can go take a look then, Chloe answered. I finally relaxed. It was good to know the big boss hadn't forgotten about my request. The following week, just as she had said, Chloe told me to get ready to move to a new rental. Aunt Chloe, does that mean I'll have my own room? I hope it has a bookshelf. The bed doesn't have to be big, just big enough to sleep in. While we waited for the moving truck, Leo's chattering never stopped. Yeah, I knew you were the best, Aunt Chloe. Ethan, we're moving to a bigger place, aren't you happy? Leo and Chloe moved into the new rental, and the three of us began to unpack. Of course I'm happy, why wouldn't I be? In truth, I didn't feel much of anything. It wasn't my house anyway, so it didn't make much difference to me where we lived. I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment as an only child. My parents had always subtly spoiled me, so I never had a strong desire for a big house. You know, if a person has never lacked for love, never suffered from a lack of money, and has a laid-back personality, they probably won't have a strong desire for material things. I was a classic example of someone who seemed to live a modest life but was actually always happy. To be honest, I actually found small houses to be more convenient and cozy, but coziness is one thing and reality is another. We couldn't have Leo sharing a room with Chloe forever. No, I'm really happy too. I'm gonna earn money and buy lots and lots of books. This place doesn't even have a proper study. I've been holding it in for so long. That was little Leo's biggest complaint. The apartment was too small to fit anything, and since it was a rental, Chloe hadn't set up a separate study for him like she had in the mansion. With nothing to do in his spare time, he was forced to watch childish cartoons and he was bored to death. I thought you were always watching cartoons before. I didn't know you loved reading so much. I only watched those because I had nothing else to do. I don't actually like such childish cartoons, but the other kids in my class like them. And Aunt Chloe said that you can be smart, but if you don't have the power to back it up, you cannot be too different from the crowd, or you'll be ostracized. My God, the big boss truly is the big boss. Leo was so young, and she was already teaching him such profound principles. What else did she say? Oh, Aunt Chloe, you also said that I should treat everything as if it's supposed to be that way. I shouldn't have implied that my classmates were dumb just because I'm smart. Even if I think it, I should forget it and hypnotize myself into believing that all my classmates are great. If I had been drinking tea right then, I would have spat it all out. Good grief, an elementary school kid was being taught this stuff. It made me looking back, I must have been a total idiot as a kid. I only realized it in high school. Chloe casually pulled a book from a packed box and handed it to Leo, who took it obediently and started reading without even glancing at the cover. I peeked over and saw the title, The Art of War. Yeah, a big boss's kid is destined to be a big boss. A mere mortal like me should probably just keep my opinions to myself. The moving truck arrived quickly, but there was not much to move. It was only during unpacking that I realized most of the stuff was things I bought, and most of it was just basic daily necessities. Leo finally could not stand it anymore, gesturing for Chloe to speak up. Only then did I stop trying to pack trivial items like oil, salt, and vinegar. Fortunately, the clothes that used to fill my entire bedroom had mostly been sold off, making the move way easier. Our new apartment was in a different complex nearby, with tighter security and a much nicer environment than the last place. Once inside, I found the layout was absolutely fantastic. Having worked in design before, I walked around the apartment and had to admit Chloe did an amazing job choosing this place. It was already renovated in my favorite minimalist style. Black, white, and gray are timeless, and the look was incredibly sleek. Even the furniture was a matching set. But the best part was the swing on the balcony, fulfilling my dream of having a spot to read whenever I wanted. Wow, this place is so much better than the old one, I love it. I like it too. Chloe wheeled through the apartment, directing the movers to place things in their spots. She glanced at us, one big, one small, both completely satisfied. Her eyes softened for a second before she turned back. About an hour later, the movers finished up and left. I pulled a towel I had packed earlier from a box and waved it at Leo. Time to start working on our new home, buddy. I will wipe the tables and sweep, and the rest is yours. No problem, I will do the windows and mop. What about me? Her sudden question made the two of us freeze. Wait, Chloe, you are going to work too. No, you do not have to. Ethan and I can handle this easily. The thought of his aunt doing chores was something he had never even imagined, and found completely unacceptable. Yeah, we can finish it, you go do your own thing. In all this time, I had never seen the big boss do anything like this. Seeing her do manual labor would honestly make me feel guilty. I will do the windows, you to take the rest. She glanced at the massive balcony windows and claimed the task before I could say a word. She took the other towel from my hand. I felt her fingers brush mine and instinctively shivered. What is wrong? Are you cold? No, I am probably just dehydrated from not drinking water lately. It is fine, I will just drink more. It definitely was not because the big boss touched me. I am not made of glass, it is not like I cannot be touched. It would be better if you ate fewer snacks. That comment felt like a dagger straight to the heart, making my face darken instantly. Hearing this, Leo made sure Chloe was not looking and quickly darted into my bedroom. If he did not run, his aunt might throw a dagger his way next, and he still wanted snacks. As for me, Chloe turned her back and muttered about the trash. How can there be so much trash in the house? I slapped my own hand. How could I have forgotten? But the big boss is out all day, busy, and always in her room. How did she find time to monitor the living room trash? Fewer snacks and more water from now on. Let's work. Leo, wiping his knitstand, had no idea that because of his aunt's words, I had just decided to cut his snack supply. If he had known, he probably would not have run away at the first sign of trouble. After over an hour, the apartment was finally clean. This included the time I spent pretending to sweep while secretly watching Chloe. I would never admit I was planning to write a character like her into my new novel. Who told her to always bring up my snacking habits anyway? The original novel does not exist here, so making a real-life CEO like Chloe the lead would be a huge hit. I will leave out the bankruptcy part. Writing about her pre-bankruptcy life would be realistic and highly popular. Ethan, why are you looking at my aunt so weirdly today? What is wrong? I get it, though, it is fine. I am sure my aunt does not mind. You are married after all. There is nothing to be embarrassed about. It is normal to like her. It would be worse if you did not. Shouldn't you two like each other? He was so incredibly cute that I almost burst out laughing. Chloe, on her way to the bathroom to wash a towel, overheard us and got a thoughtful look in her eyes. I quickly tiptoed in, and the two of them immediately shut up as if they had not said a word. Cleaning was not too exhausting, so I decided to cook. There was a large supermarket nearby, bigger than the old one, making shopping much more convenient. I wanted to check it out and buy some fresh produce. Leo stayed behind, but who would have thought Chloe would want to come along? I tried to stop her, saying she did not need to and I could carry everything. Since it was my first time, I would buy light and be right back. You two just worked so hard. If I do not go, how will you carry all those snacks? Was she ever going to drop this? But I did want snacks, so I could not argue. I had to let her come. Out of spite, I bought a ton of things, and we returned with 3 heavy bags. It felt weird seeing the big boss carrying groceries, but she brought it on herself by always teasing me. We all slept comfortably that first night. Chloe did not complain, but honestly, having Leo sleep next to me was slightly awkward. Having my own room since childhood, I was not used to sharing space. Even though Leo was quiet and barely moved, having someone there made me uneasy. I had been busy all day, so I did not even feel tired, but my body was. After washing up, I passed out the second my eyes closed, sleeping soundly until morning. As for Leo, he was thrilled to have his own bed and could toss and turn all he wanted. For the next 2 days, we all enjoyed the new place. Then, Chloe called me to look at apartments again. This had to be the one she mentioned we were going to buy. I had waited so long for this, I could finally have a place of my own here. Chloe was good to me and Leo was adorable, even if we were not related. I considered them friends, but I still felt no sense of belonging. Chloe was a side character, my former wife, and Leo was her nephew. Everything I had now felt completely disconnected from my real self. I was just an outsider, but owning an apartment would change that. It would give me a place to put down roots, even if I eventually parted ways with Chloe and Leo. I could still write as a freelancer. This would be my own space, my foundation. Sure, even without buying, I could easily afford to rent with my current income, but it would not give me the same peace of mind. The place Chloe took me to was far from our rental. Local housing prices were rising fast, attracting plenty of buyers. When we arrived, a huge crowd had already gathered outside. Fortunately, Chloe did not try to push through the mob. Instead, she led me straight to the staff entrance. She was a former big boss, after all. When she made a move, even without deliberately using her connections, people still showed her respect. In fact, the staff here were more than just polite. They treated her like a guest of honor. Following Chloe, I got to experience VIP treatment for the first time, and at such a crowded real estate launch. They led us directly to a luxurious private lounge. The tea they served smelled outrageously expensive. It was top-tier tea. Even an amateur like me could tell this was premium. We are just here to look at an apartment. Is this necessary? Do you know the owner? This is a project Maya started to quiet her family. She will not touch real estate again after this. Just pick a unit. We will pay whatever regardless of the price, exploiting her position as the developer feels wrong. Like we're taking advantage. If it were the big boss buying the place, that would be one thing, but since this apartment is going in my name, using her perks felt dirty. Besides, she clearly isn't my biggest fan. I still remember that cold, judging look she gave me during her first visit. I remember it vividly. Besides, we're still paying, just getting first dibs. To her, it's just business. These 3 buildings have the prime locations and layouts, with a couple of exceptions, specifically, excluding the top and bottom 6 floors. You can choose from the rest. All right, no more fussing. If the boss says pick, I pick. Worst case, I'll just write more, and buy another place down the road. So, I started studying the floor plans. Honestly, even though my background is in interior design, I know enough about architecture to see the quality. These 3 buildings were incredibly well designed. After reviewing them, I chose a 3-bedroom, 2-living room unit. If we're still married after renovations, the 3 of us can move in, but if we divorce, and I keep the place, I'll have a bedroom, a writing studio, and a gaming room. It was perfect. With the layout locked in, Chloe and I headed over to inspect the site. We followed the staff through the construction zone. The hallways were an absolute disaster. Usually, developers sell these units before they even break ground. I wondered why Maya built them first. He shrugged. Because I told her quality builds sell themselves. Besides, with property prices constantly climbing, the longer she waits, the higher the price she can eventually demand. Ah, makes sense. Typical of a powerhouse boss who handled massive construction projects. She really operates on a completely different level compared to a transmigrated pseudo-intellectual like me.